Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, December 11th, 2025. Here's what's coming up on the Owen Report today. All right, there's a lot of just raw news that are developing, a lot of headlines developing right now. A lot of geopolitical developments with Venezuela, with Colombia, with Russia, with Ukraine, with Israel, with Qatar. A lot of geopolitical headlines today. We're going to try to break it all down, including a trip from Tucker Carlson to a children's center in Qatar where children, Palestinian children who have had their legs and arms blown off or, a near-death experience with that war. Tucker Carlson goes down to that children's center, and boy, oh boy, you can already imagine the reactions from the Mark Levins of the world. Now, this is all going to tie into what is starting to develop inside the Jewish community, and this is why it's so frustrating when you try to have debates or discussions about these issues and people don't see both sides of the coin, or they don't even understand the full spectrum of the issue. Like every other community, the Jewish community has a left and the Jewish community has a right. This whole idea that American Jews or Israeli Jews are a monolith of thought or policy is not good coverage. It's inaccurate, but that's propaganda. That's what you're designed to think. Well, I don't know if it's fair to call them left-wing, but they describe themselves as anti-Zionist Jews, and they are starting to get a lot louder. And now they've got Mom Donnie in New York City, who's doing all these major events with thousands in the anti-Zionist Jewish community in New York City. So we're going to tie all of these things together in the geopolitical stack that we have today. And then just crazy comments, honestly. Just crazy comments. Now, what we're waiting for right now, today has been a big day in the Charlie Kirk assassination investigation, or I guess it would be better to say trial, as Tyler Robinson makes a court appearance today. A lot to break down with that, but everybody's kind of getting really deep into that. So I'm just going to kind of surface level it for you here. But they are supposed to be taking this hearing back live, public live hearings. It's been a closed session since this morning. So they came in this morning, introduced everybody. I'll go through that with you. Now they're in the closed session, so no cameras, no microphones. They're discussing some rules and how they're going to move forward with the case. But any minute now, they will be opening it back up. And so I do intend to carry that live. But boy, oh boy, it's just heating things up. It's just heating things up. So I do intend to cover that live. I do have some news on that front that we're going to be covering as well, and we'll kind of look at the things that happened today that led us to that. But Tim Burchett has said some interesting things today. If we have the time, I'll play the clips. I may just have to read the quotes for the sake of time. We'll re-examine yesterday's National Defense Authorization Act as we're getting more information about that. It's not good. It's definitely not what you voted for. Or maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe you like the deep state. Maybe you like the military-industrial complex. The Trump administration is making some moves today. We got a couple announcements there. And where is Pam Bondi? Anybody know where Pam Bondi is? I think it would be time for a Pam Bondi showing on Fox News or something. No, nothing. Act Blue, which she's supposed to be investigating and shutting down, by the way. Act Blue is on pace to clear tell me I've got it wrong. Is it $2 billion? It's $2 billion. Act Blue is on pace to clear $2 billion in fundraising efforts this year. Okay. Great job, Pam. Great job. And then we got some Elon Musk news as well. All of that and more coming up on today's Owen Report.
This news update was brought to you by OwenSchroyer.store, the official site for Owen Report merchandise.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you hear it a lot in the news about potential catastrophes, collapses. There was supposed to be a big solar storm this week, could have shut down the power grid. You're hearing all of this stuff, and maybe you're not sure what to think. Maybe you don't believe it. You don't buy into the hype. You don't want to prepare for it. But wouldn't you rather be prepared? Wouldn't you rather know that you're prepared beforehand instead of trying to prepare afterwards? Yes, you would. And that's why I'm here to tell you about mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. And I love what they're doing here with their new Christmas special. The buy one, gift two Christmas special. And if you go to mypatriotsupply.com/Owen right now, check below to see the best way to get started in preparedness with our best deal. The Christmas gift, ladies and gentlemen, the Christmas special from our friends at My Patriot Supply. This Christmas, give the gift of food security with an amazing deal from our friends at My Patriot Supply. It's called the buy one, gift two Christmas special. You got to check it out all month long. When you buy an emergency food kit, you'll get 2 more food kits free to give as gifts. That's right. Get a 4-week emergency food supply for yourself, and they'll throw in 2 1-week food kits absolutely free. The 1-week kit make perfect gifts for anyone on your list who's into preparedness or anyone who needs a little nudge in that direction. Or if you're like the Grinch out there, just keep it all for yourself. These days, it just makes sense to have some food stored away for emergencies. And with this buy one, gift two Christmas deal, you're not only getting yourself prepared, but you're helping friends and family prepare as well. mypatriotsupply.com/Owen. Take advantage of the Christmas gift for yourself and your friends. Start your emergency preparedness if you haven't yet with this deal, or just continue in that preparedness and help your friends in that journey as well. mypatriotsupply.com/Owen.
On the cutting edge of news and analysis, the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
All right. All right, I got a lot of incoming right now. We're going to sort it all out here in 3 hours of the Owen Report today. We got a lot we're going to be juggling. I got a free speech issue. I got a free speech issue in the third hour, and not intending to do a deep tease here, but let's just do it. Why not? It's funny, and I've had this guest on before, and this guest comes from the left. Some would even say this guest is a extremely cringeworthy guest. Always been kind to me, but this person reaches out earlier today. And we've collaborated on some free speech stories before. And I know when this individual comes on in the third hour that people are gonna, make a fuss of it. But I have to say it's funny. As I'm reviewing this story, and you've probably not heard about this, but when the government is taking actions against free speech, that to me is a free speech issue. I don't care if it's on the left or the right. And it's funny because I know I'll see people on the right and they'll say, oh my gosh, why would you platform this person? And I'll say, well, nobody from the right reached out to me about this. Nobody from the right is hitting me up saying, hey, let's tackle this issue. Let's raise this issue about free speech and what the administration is doing. So I'll just leave it at that. And I'm actually glad. I would love to see the left get back to their roots of classical liberalism, including free speech. Now, I say that because I think we're going to have a major issue, and I don't know if you're going to consider this a free speech issue, but right now, the courtroom in the Tyler Robinson case, they are deliberating in a closed-door session whether or not they're going to let cameras inside. Now, you can imagine everything that's going through the judge's head, and we got a brief taste of it when the cameras were rolling and the audio was rolling this morning. We got a brief taste of it. But to me, you have to have this thing public. This thing has to be public. There's already the major trust issues. And by the way, Erica Kirk came out, and I think she's just concluded her tour. She did the week-long tour of Fox News, and then I think she capped it off with the Barry Weiss interview. So I think the Erica Kirk tour is done. I don't know. She's everywhere right now. So you can imagine the headlines. But she said she wants it to be public. The people that believe the official narrative, they all want it public. So who wouldn't want it public? Obviously, the people that don't trust the public narrative, I fall into that category. Rather, the official narrative, the government narrative, the Fed narrative, I fall into that category. I want it public. So it seems that everybody wants this public. So I'd be stunned if the judge decides not to. And then you can imagine the conspiracy theories that will be flying around if the judge decides that we're not going to have this public. We're not going to have cameras. We're not going to have audio. So that'll be a major issue. Now, I do want to show some of the sights and sounds, and we'll see. They're supposed to be taking this hearing back live any minute now, so we'll see about all that. Now, there's going to be a big fuss about the parents not being allowed into the courtroom, and it would appear the reason is they are going to be witnesses, and so therefore they can't be there for the entire proceedings. This is kind of standard courtroom procedures, but the parents are not going to be allowed into the courtroom during the proceedings, likely because they're going to be witnesses. Now, all of that aside, and I'm gonna look at some of the news here as we're waiting this thing going live again. It was interesting today. It was, and I don't think it's just. I mean, obviously, the interest level of this story is off the charts. But it was interesting to see kind of just the judge today, and to see how each side of the courtroom, the mannerisms, the behavior, and I'll start showing some of these videos here in a second. And maybe we go to the Robinson video, the Tyler Robinson video that is quite odd, I must say. But this was here's what's crazy to me, and I think that Utah understands something here. They understand something here. And whatever they think the threat is, they understand that they have to protect Tyler Robinson's life because somebody wants him dead. And so, or maybe, maybe a lot of people want him dead. So this is the escort today. This is the escort today. You can see it. It's, it's basically, it's like a miniature presidential motorcade here that Robinson got an escort to the courtroom today. And then it was, they're making sure nobody can kill this guy. They're making sure nobody can kill this guy before the court case can reveal everything that it will. So it's the utmost protection. Now, I think the judge is being fair, and this is one of the toughest things to do. And it's amazing as we're going to get a side-by-side with the Luigi Mangione case and the Tyler Robinson case. A lot of this stuff is going on kind of the same path. What's going to be interesting is in the Mangione case, and I don't mean to get off track, but I think this is very important in the Mangione case. The defense, they got to protect his life too. The defense in both of these cases is obviously saying, what you're doing to the defendant here is not allowing for a fair trial. You're not allowing for an impartial jury or a fair trial when you're presenting my client here, whether it's Mangione or Robinson, when you're presenting them and they're constantly in shackles and bulletproof vests and the SWAT team and the arrival and all of it, you're presenting them as a terrorist. You're presenting them as already guilty. Now, you can understand why they have to do that. You can understand why they have to take all of these mechanisms to protect the defendant, but you can also understand why the defense is going to say, hey, you're hurting our case here. People see this and they see that's a monstrous killer. I can't put forth a good defense when you've already done that. So you've got that debate going on. Now, the judges have allowed in both of these cases for the defendants to wear street attire or whatever they want, courtroom attire. So they're not going in there in prison garb. They're not going in there shackled. So Robinson is out there in a tie today, kind of like Mangione. He goes with the more he's more of a sweater look kind of guy. What's going to be interesting is the defense in the Mangione case is trying to get all of the most important evidence thrown out. And they're claiming, and they might win. They could, this will be interesting. They're claiming that the most important evidence that was seized from Mangione, his backpack at the McDonald's, they are claiming that it was obtained illegally. And they probably have a pretty good argument there. They probably have a strong argument. Now, it's the most important evidence. It's the most damning evidence. It's you would argue, conclusive evidence that Mangione is the one that did it. And I think that we're not going to really get the side of the story from the defense until they have reached the conclusion. This is in the Mangione case. Until they've reached the conclusion of whether or not the evidence is going to be admissible, then we'll see how they're going to respond to it. Because if they toss the evidence, then they'll just make sure it never gets responded to, if it never gets brought up again. But if they do let it go, that's going to open up very interesting debates inside of the courtroom beyond just whether it was legal or not. Like, if he's going to try to claim somehow that he was framed, because it's really odd when you watch the video, folks. It's really odd when you watch the video. And I'm not going to sit here. Look, there's criminal psychology, and then there's advanced levels of criminal psychology. There is a field. There are patterns of behavior that are identifiable, but it's also not a perfect ideology. It's not a perfect philosophy. So you could see that and say, well, that doesn't look like the guy. That doesn't look like the guy that just committed a murder in the middle of the street and is eating a Big Mac. And yet then there's the evidence on his person, and it's like, that's the guy. There's no denying it. So to have these two cases happening at the same time is wild. So then there's Robinson today. Here's a video of Tyler Robinson in the courtroom. And this has people reaching conclusions about him, and how could you blame him? It's very odd. The body language here is very odd. To me, it's the body language of a guilty guy. And you know that I don't believe that he killed Charlie Kirk. I don't believe that. And maybe for those that weren't listening to my show or my coverage of that at the time, maybe I can kind of revisit what I think about this whole thing. But to me, this does look like a demented, demonically possessed individual who feels proud that he's in the spotlight, who feels proud that he's having this moment. Now, I would say, because you can't help it. Everybody has their own bias. If I'm innocent, if I didn't do this, if I had nothing to do with any of this and I've been totally framed and they have nothing on me, I'm probably in there saying I'm innocent and making a scene of it. And if they threaten to hold me in contempt of court or whatever, I'm just willing to accept that, because I don't know if I'm ever going to get another opportunity to say that myself with all the attention here. So it's like, okay, but he doesn't look like he's interested in that. He looks like somebody who's accepting that he's in this role now, that this is his fate, and maybe even glad that he's here. Now, we'll see what happens as all of this goes on. Now, my contention, you watch this guy again. This is not somebody that looks like he's sorry. This is not somebody that looks like he's in there stoic and stern to prove his innocence. This looks like an individual that's a little deranged, maybe even central casting for a assassin here in this case. But here's what I think happened. Here's what I think happened currently. I think Tyler Robinson went on the roof to take a shot. I think he went there that day to kill Charlie. And I think he climbed on the roof, and I think he had a gun. And I think as he was lining up his shot, somebody else took the shot and killed Charlie. And maybe he fired a shot, maybe he didn't. I think there's way more details that we need to know. But that's what I think. I don't think Tyler Robinson took the shot. I think he was up there, and I think he thought he was going to be killing Charlie, or at least attempting to. And I think right when he was about to do it, somebody else did it. And he was just like, what? And I mean, you can imagine if that is how it went. That's kind of where I'm at. And I think the two most damning things for me to not believe the official story are the 30-06 through the neck that doesn't go through the skin. That's, I mean, I don't know if you could say impossible, but based off of mathematical standards, that's basically impossible for a 30-06 to not go through the neck. And even if it hit vertebrae, there would be some form of an exit wound or some visible proof that that was a 30-06 bullet. And I see people bringing up the Martin Luther King assassination, which, are we believing that story now too? Are we just going on that now the government never lies to us? That's odd. So, okay, some people are going, hey, the government's always honest. Look at the Martin Luther King killing. I'm like, okay. So that's if you even believe it to begin with. But actually, the bullet that killed Martin Luther King did have an exit wound. And the bullet that killed Martin Luther King went through a thicker part of his body in the upper shoulder chest region. So thicker, more muscle, more mass in this region, in the upper chest and shoulder, than obviously in the neck region where Charlie was shot from. And Martin Luther King did have an exit wound, by the way. So I'm not here to promote the official Martin Luther King assassination story, but there you go. The two things to me, the 30-06 not going through the neck, that's the one that's just like unbelievable. And then the other one, which is just straight up suspicious. So it's like, okay, 30-06 neck, man of steel, Superman neck, bullets made of steel. It's like, okay, that's kind of impossible. You're asking me to believe that. I guess there's a 0.001% chance that could have happened. Okay. But I think the most suspicious is the fact that they have not released the video of him taking the shot. That's the most suspicious. So it's like the 30-06 thing is just unbelievable. Maybe not suspicious. Maybe there's an explanation of why there's a confusion there. But the video, the deliberate editing of video, the deliberate censorship. I don't know what else to say. The deliberate editing, the deliberate censorship of the showing you the video of Tyler taking the shot, that's the most suspicious thing to me. Now they can close all of these loops in the courtroom, and they're going to have to. But see now, and this is where I think the court understands, they're going to have to make sure that Tyler Robinson is alive to finish this case. Because now it's become more of, as much this is about convincing the jury, as much as the prosecution has to go into this about convincing the jury that Tyler Robinson did it, it's almost as important now for them to convince the American people too. And maybe that's, or obviously that's second priority as far as the prosecution is concerned. But to the people that are involved in this, that are looking to shut down the conspiracy theories, they're probably looking at this saying, hey, you need to make sure you convince the American people of this too. Because we are sick and tired of having to deal with this every day. And then that's exactly what's going on. And now they're saying, because I don't even want to deal with it, I'm obviously avoiding it purposefully. You know, the Erica Kirk media tour and all the different things being said about that or her in general. But that is a news story. You know, Erica Kirk came out at the memorial in Arizona and talked about how she forgave Tyler Robinson. Now, that doesn't seem to resonate with those that are pushing the official narrative. They don't want to forgive. They're not calling for forgiveness. But okay, Erica Kirk said that at the memorial. And then she was on, I think it was Outnumbered this week, and basically in that interview excoriating Candace Owens. So we're forgiving Charlie's killer, but we're not forgiving Candace Owens, who's a podcaster. All right. Well, now when Candace said the only person that could get her to shut up would be Erica Kirk. Well, now Erica Kirk has basically asked her to shut up. But I don't anticipate Candace will. And people will call her a fraud and a liar for that. And that's fair. She's done this to herself. But I will say it's so much bigger now. When Candace said that, when Candace said the only person that could make me shut up is Erica Kirk, this was it was a different world. It was a totally different world back then when she said it. Now this thing is so much bigger than that original moment and that original reaction period. Now this thing is so much bigger. I don't anticipate her to shut up, and I don't think she can anyway. And she's kind of teased so many different receipts and points of evidence, what have you, that she has to deliver. She has to kind of finish whatever it is she's trying to do here. She's going to have to finish. But okay, Erica Kirk is now saying, Candace, stop, in her own way. And I don't anticipate Candace will. But let's see. Let's see what happens next. Now, they're still deliberating right now whether or not they're going to allow the public to watch this court case. They're still deciding that. And you know what we can do probably? Well, no, let's just get into the news. I'll continue to monitor that. And if they take us live, we'll cover it. But you got Robinson in there looking like, yeah. Not looking innocent. I'll tell you that. He's not looking innocent. Or he's looking confident. He's either confident that he's happy with his current status and all of this. He's either happy with it, whether it was him or not. He's happy that he's there. He's happy that the cameras are there. He's kind of just, he's confident in that moment. Or I guess he's confident that they're going to prove he didn't do it. But I don't know. I look at that and I see this is not a man who's in there feeling sorry. This is not a man who's in there feeling like he's fighting for his life. He seems like a man who's in there enjoying the spotlight and enjoying whatever is about to happen here. But they're still debating whether or not you're going to get to see it all. So should they take that live, we will cover it. But you know, Tim Burchett, he's one of the good ones. There's no doubt about that. Tim Burchett is one of the good ones. And he recently had an interview with Benny Johnson. These are some longer cuts, so I'm just going to read the quotes for the sake of time. We got a lot to do today. And if they do open the cameras back up in the courtroom, we're going to be covering that. So let me just try to get as much through here before that happens. Representative Tim Burchett says January 6th pipe bomber Brian Cole was groomed by CIA MKUltra tactics, just like Crooks and Robinson. Always alone, no contact. They said that about Thomas Crooks and Tyler Robinson. And notice how they're kind of just burying the Florida case. They're kind of just burying that case. Who's talking about that case? Who's talking about Ryan Ruth? Who's talking about his connections in Ukraine? Burchett goes on, it's always the same pattern. You've got organizations that say, we don't do mind control. Then they get sued and said, we did do it, but not anymore. I think they're lying. They put out garbage through airways on the internet. They target these individuals. And remember, this is the same story. He didn't mention the guy, but this is the same story with the guy from Afghanistan that shot the National Guards. And he was in a CIA program. That we know. So let's actually try to apply this practically. Now, there's basically two routes that you go down here, which is, do you even believe that? Do you even believe that all of these people are lone wolf actors? Do you even believe that? It seems kind of hard to believe. It seems not impossible to believe, but it's hard to believe that every single one of these people is a lone wolf and nobody knew. But okay, I suppose it's plausible. That's not as much, that's not as important to me right now for the sake of this conversation. When it comes to did they do it or not, this stuff becomes more relevant. But let's talk about Tim Burchett saying this is how they're groomed online. Let's say, let's take an example, and I think Robinson is the best case example to look at right now. Let's say, and it's anybody that does these mind control things, by the way. But how do you get in? What's the delivery system? Well, they can penetrate your personal life. Specifically, they can penetrate and manipulate your digital life. It's very easy. They all have access to your internet activity. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. Anything connected to the internet, the intelligence agencies can get access to. Some things might be harder than others, but they can get it. So if you've got a candidate, let's say you're looking for a candidate to be a patsy or to try to groom to be an assassin, whatever the case is, all you got to do is look at their digital footprint. You can study their social life, find the right candidate, and then look at their digital footprint. And then you can basically lead them. And now with AI, it's a totally different story. But you can essentially lead them. It's kind of like how Amazon and these other e-commerce companies say, pretty soon we'll know what you're going to buy before you even buy it. And you're already seeing some of the signs of this. You probably experience this now. It's not even uncommon anymore. You'll be talking about something with friends at dinner, and then you go home and you open up your browser, and then bing, there's an advertisement for that thing you were talking about. That's how ingrained the AI is now in your digital footprint. And it is listening to you, and it is profiling you, and it does have a file on you. So now they're just building all the data centers and the quantum computing to actually process this effectively. This is the Trump administration doing this. So you know Robinson's social life enough. You know his digital footprint enough. Now you know how to lead him right where you want him. He's on Reddit or other social media forums, and you throw some breadcrumbs, you get him to chase, and now bing, you've got him in the chat room. You've got him in the forum. And he thinks he's talking to like-minded people. He thinks he's talking to furries or trans people or whatever it is on this internet forum. And he thinks they're all in there together and they're all, you know, in the secret little clique. And now they've got his ear. Now they've got his mind. And they start talking about, hey, did you see Charlie Kirk is coming to town next month? I was like, oh, did you see that? Boy, it'd be a shame if somebody did this. Well, I wonder how they do that. Oh, yeah. And then it's like you just give him all the ingredients. You know his digital footprint. You give him the breadcrumbs. He winds up in a forum. Now you give him the ingredients. And then he does exactly what you trained him to do. And then he does exactly what you programmed him to do. That's what Tim Burchett, in my eyes, is talking about. Now, he might have a different application to that, but that's how I see it. You find the candidate, you study their social behavior, you get access to their digital footprint, you leave the breadcrumbs so that they end up exactly where you want them to, and then you start grooming them, and then you start training them, and then you go for the desired result. Let's not forget, they got caught doing this. The FBI got caught doing this in Michigan with the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. And don't forget that they tried to do this in other states as well. And don't forget that the FBI agents that were running that got promoted. Let's not kid ourselves. That's not an isolated incident. Let's not kid ourselves. They don't just target people on the right, they target people on the left. So when I hear, okay, MK Ultra mind control, it doesn't even have to be CIA. It could be anybody. And Robinson is a perfect candidate. And so if someone said, what do you think happened? I say, well, I'm very uncomfortable reaching any conclusions right now. But since you ask, I think somebody wanted Charlie dead. And I think they groomed Tyler Robinson to do it. Now, again, that's somebody, you could say, a really high-level source, or it could just be a bunch of leftists. But I think somebody wanted to convince Tyler to go out there and do it, or anybody, and Tyler just ended up being the one. Somebody wanted Charlie dead, and so they groomed Tyler Robinson to do it. And then I think when he went up on the roof to do it, and the very people that groomed him to do it had all the foreknowledge, and maybe this is where all the foreign cell phones are coming from. Maybe this has something to do with the Egyptian planes. I don't know. But I think somebody groomed Tyler to do it. I think he went up on that roof to do it. But I think before he could get off a shot, or even if he did get off a shot, I don't think he's the one that shot Charlie Kirk. I think someone else did it. I think it was a professional job. I think it was a professional hit. And now Robinson is the perfect patsy. He was the perfect MK Ultra candidate. Now he's the perfect patsy. And again, the two reasons. 30-6 doesn't go through the neck. Don't believe it. Sorry, not buying it. But maybe it's plausible. So I could say, I just don't believe that. But what's more suspicious, what is the most suspicious, is that they release an edited video and they intentionally make sure that you don't see Tyler Robinson taking the shot. That's the most suspicious thing to me. Now, the feds can reverse that at any moment. The video obviously exists. The video before they show you Tyler Robinson running across the roof after the shot, that video exists. Why aren't they showing it to us? They might have an answer. They might give us an answer. They might eventually give us the video, but they haven't yet. And that's suspicious to me. And why they released it without the most important part of that video is suspicious to me. And now that you're more than 3 months beyond this, we could have had that video day one, folks. We could have had that video within 48 hours. They could have produced that video. Now that you're more than 3 months beyond this, people aren't going to believe it. Now they're just not going to believe it no matter what. You could release the video. You could explain why you didn't until now. But now you've waited 3 months. Nobody's going to believe you now. Now all trust is gone. But you have to think, Well, how can something like this even happen? Not everybody walking around at Utah Valley is a bad person. And if you think that there was a grand conspiracy that day, still 99.9% of the people that were there that day had nothing to do with it. So how are they able to even get the security footage without anybody else seeing it? Has nobody seen it? Is that even possible? How would that have gone down? Well, you'd have to have an insider in the local law enforcement. And you'd have to have your guy in the FBI. That's the only people that could cover this up. I don't think the staff at the college had anything to do with this, but who had access to the security tapes? How many people saw those security tapes? How many people have had access to the security tape of Tyler Robinson running across the roof and the video we haven't seen moments before that? How many people have seen that? Has anybody seen that? Did local law enforcement get in there and remove the tape before anybody else could see it? Did local law enforcement get in there and shut everything down, and then the FBI came in and somebody said, clear the room, reviewed the tape, pulled it, and gave us the edited version? These are all fair questions, by the way. There is nothing unfair about these questions. Now, it looks like they're still deciding how they want to handle. I'm not seeing any news on how they want to handle the cameras now, but it does look like they may have opened it up now. Let me see if we can't get some audio here. And bear with us, guys, if we have some weird audio thing. DMT is in the digital studio today, so he'll be monitoring audio for us. But just bear with us if we have a strange audio situation. We'll get it taken care of. Let me see here.
It is our position, the defense position, that there has been a violation of the decorum order. It is our understanding that those live streaming this signed and declared that they would follow the decorum order, and they violated it. So we are requesting a sanction. We believe these court's orders are binding and they need to be respected. We also believe that it threatens my client's right to a fair trial. It's the whole reason we filed a motion in the first place to remove his shackles. It's our understanding that his shackles are visible. It is also our understanding that potentially some audio from counsel table was heard. We are definitely taking more measures on our own to ensure that that does not happen again. But there has also been some filming of computers and materials at counsel's desk. That's entirely inappropriate. And I think everybody in this room will agree that's entirely inappropriate. So we are asking for some remedial measures here. We're asking for it to terminate for today, and we can proceed after that.
Thank you, Ms. Visser. To the state.
Your Honor, the state, as stated earlier, we believe that the court's order was very clear. And if there has been a violation of that order, then we agree that there needs to be some measure taken. We'll leave it to the court to decide the appropriate response to that violation. But we agree that any violation of the court's order needs to be addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. To the press, attorneys for the press.
Your Honor, Jeff Hunt for the media interveners. This is the first time that we've heard about the violation. We've not had an opportunity to look at the video or investigate the audio or look at the capture of the computers. But filming of the inadvertent filming of the shackles, I did talk to the pool photographer. My understanding is that there was a zoom out shot that did inadvertently show the shackles. That was improper. That was inadvertent. And we apologize for that. They've taken measures to make sure that the pool video that is disseminated to the rest of the pool does not contain any capture of the defendant in the shackles. We can't do anything about the live stream, of course, but we can control what the rest of the video is that we capture and disseminate. So that is being done. The audio for council, my understanding is the only audio that they picked up was from council's microphones. I don't have any further information about that and whether that's a violation. Filming of the computers is not a violation of the decorum order. If the capture can show the document that council is looking at, then that is a potential violation. So I just don't know how much detail the shot is that is of concern to the court. But I'll just say that we reiterated as soon as I heard this from Mr. Ballard with the pool representatives that this is very important to follow to the letter of the court's EMC order. They understand their obligations. They take that very seriously. They're not perfect. Mistakes happen. We're trying to correct as much as we can on that. But we think termination is not an appropriate remedy. An admonishment from this court, a reminder that they need to follow to the letter. The court's EMC order is appropriate. That's the message that council has delivered to the media representatives and the pool operatives. And we think that is the appropriate remedy.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to make it clear, we're still receiving messages that shackles can be seen on the live stream as we restarted. So it's still a problem.
Thank you. I appreciate all parties weighing in on this important matter. And I find that there was a violation of the standing decorum order that was in effect as of October 30th, 2025, based off what's been proffered, as well as the EMC order signed by the court. As previously stated by Ms. Visser, the court does have discretion in determining whether to terminate the broadcast of these proceedings. And again, if there are specific circumstances warrant such action, that the court would need to make findings in order to do so. I find that excluding the cameras from the courtroom would be disproportionate for this hearing. I find that making it very clear first that the transmission cannot begin until court is in session and must end as the court ends the session, and cannot be filmed before or after. The filming of, as previously stated in the decorum order, EMC must be followed to the letter. The sanction for today is that this camera will be relocated away from defense table to where the bailiff is, where Jeff is standing over here. I want to immediately address any possible transmission of shackles, as previously stated by counsel, and remove the possibility of capture of screens of the computers at defense counsel's table as well. In addition, if there's further violations of the standing decorum order, this court does have the right and will exercise termination of broadcast of these proceedings. And I simply want to put all parties on notice, to the press, to all parties, that this court takes this very seriously. While the court believes in openness and transparency, it needs to be balanced with the constitutional rights of all parties in this case. As such, we will take a brief recess to allow the relocation of the camera and to the place indicated by the bailiff, and then we will resume these court proceedings. I am anticipating this to take perhaps 5 minutes. Probably less. All right, and then we'll come back on the record and handle the remaining of this hearing. I appreciate the patience of parties as we move forward. We are trying to do the best.
All right, we just heard from the judge in the Tyler Robinson.
Okay. I'll continue to monitor that. It sounds like they're going to take a really brief recess and then get right back to it. They just want to change a camera angle. I haven't seen the camera angle they're talking about, and They say that you can see him in shackles, so I'm not really sure what they're talking about, but whatever. They want to move some cameras around, and they want to make sure that the rights of the media are protected to cover this case, and they want to make sure that Tyler Robinson's rights, innocent till proven guilty, no jury tampering, are also protected in this case as it continues. So we will continue to monitor that as we close out. As we close out the first hour. So we'll probably just go with that till the end of the hour, pick it back up on the other side. We do have a guest on a free speech story in the third hour for today. I do have tons of news. I intend to prioritize the coverage of this proceeding. We will do that. But we also need to cover a lot of the other news today as well. Let's close out the first hour. We'll go ahead and close out the first hour. And take care of some business here. You know, I hear it a lot. I'm wondering if it's maybe there's something to it. That maybe there's something to it. A lot of these liberal men and whatever issues it is that they're going through, they just have low T. They just have low T, folks. It's driving these men to liberalism and mental disorders. They need to go to CHOQ.com and they need to get the Male Vitality Stack Ultra, like I have done. And I just know the science, and I felt the effects, by the way. The science, men's testosterone levels decline 1% a year on average after the age of 30. That's 6% for me. I'm 36. I don't like that. I don't like that, folks. And then us men, we're already on a decline. They're half testosterone levels what they were 50 years ago. So we got to address it, guys. We got to address it. Our friends at CHOQ.com, that's CHOQ.com, have formulated a blend of natural herbal supplements that support your body's natural testosterone production. Just one ingredient in their Male Vitality Stack has boosted free testosterone levels more than 50% in just 3 weeks. And right now, you can get 25% off your CHOQ subscription for life. That's right. You heard me. 25% off your CHOQ subscription for life. Just go to CHOQ.com, CHOQ.com, and use the promo code Owen, and you can get any subscription 25% off. I have to warn you, though, guys. I have to warn you. You will feel the effects. You will feel the effects. Are you listening to me? Hear me loud and clear. You will feel the difference. Got it? Good. CHOQ.com. Promo code Owen at checkout, 25% off any subscription.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Navigating between the sane and insane, it's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
I'm interested in the chat today. I don't often like to go into the chat because it's mostly a distraction. It's mostly a distraction, and some of you guys in there are just psychos. We still love you, though. But you know it's true. You know it's a slop pool in there. But I'm a little interested in the chats today on this subject. And it's funny. I'd love to hear the haters weigh in and explain to me how I've flip-flopped on this at all. But it really doesn't matter. Those are the psychos I'm probably talking about. But somebody did ask a question. They said, what happened to George Zinn? Well, George Zinn eventually was released for that. And then George Zinn was arrested for, what was the crime? I think, was it child porn? Yeah, I think it was child porn that he was arrested for just like a week later after that. So now he's in jail. He's not talking to anybody. So that's totally normal stuff. That's just great. All right, we are back live here. I got to say, though, I got to say, this thing is big. This thing is big. And part of me, we're going to go back live. They're speaking now. I'm talking too much. I need to just shut up. But part of me thinks maybe I just pause all the news and we just cover this and maybe even take calls on this if we have to. I've already booked a guest. I'm not going to cancel the guest, but this thing is big. There's no denying it. This thing is big. The news isn't going anywhere, but this is happening live. So let's go back to the courtroom. And let's hear the decisions that are getting made as far as media access is concerned. Here we go.
And our goal, therefore, is to get an order that's clear, that's lawful, and that the state has the ability to comply with. And the issue with the order that the state has is the use of the term witnesses in the order. We believe that term's vague and ambiguous. Does it mean anyone with relevant information about this case? Does it just mean those people that are going to be subpoenaed to testify in this case? Or is it limited to just the prosecution team? And I think as we've expressed in our filings, we believe that the court intended that term just be limited to the prosecution team because that is the way that Rule 3.8 reads. Rule 3.8 of the Rules of Professional Conduct that deals specifically with requirements for prosecutors talks about investigators, law enforcement personnel, employees, or other persons assisting or associated with the prosecutor. So in other words, the prosecution.
You've been watching the first in-person court appearance for the suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination, Tyler Robinson. The judge ruling cameras will be allowed in the courtroom, turned away from the defense table.
I think
for
they're going to cut.
Now
I think
it's
Fox
time
is going to cut
for the five.
I think they're going to cut and go to programming.
With respect.
Are you kidding me?
Everybody, I'm Jesse Waters, along with
no
Kenny
major news
Harold
network is
Ford
covering
Jr.,
this right now.
Dana
Folks.
Perino and Lawrence
Are you
Jones.
kidding me?
It's 5 o'clock in
You're
New
gonna
York
cut
City,
to the
and this
five?
is the 5. Looks like the Democrats' greasy savior has.
Look, no major news coverage. Nobody is covering this now. And Fox just cut to programming. Okay. Well, I got to find it now. I don't even know where to go. Maybe C-SPAN? How is nobody wanting to cover this? It's got to be on YouTube, right? Yeah, C-SPAN isn't covering it. They're covering some stupid Congress crap. Let's see here. We're going to get this. Don't worry. But news blackout. Media blackout. Look, folks, nobody's covering it. Look. Nobody is covering it right now. Zero network news coverage Zero. Zero, zilch, nada. So I go to Court TV. I found a YouTube channel covering it. Court TV. We'll take it live.
That, then we have concerns because a prior restraint is an order that forbids certain communications in advance of the time that they are to occur. And as the Court of Appeals has recognized, the Utah Court of Appeals has recognized in State versus LM. And widespread publicity in a case does not itself justify a prior restraint.
Only 2,500.
The United States Supreme Court has recognized in Nebraska Press Association, there's no justification for a prior restraint unless it's clear that the further publicity, unchecked, would so distort the views of potential jurors that you couldn't find 12 jurors who could be fair and impartial. That's the high standard that applies in this case. And so in order to apply a prior restraint to persons beyond the prosecution team, the court would need to engage in a very detailed and demanding analysis. The court would have to make a factual finding of necessity, that the speech that would be restrained poses a risk of material prejudice to the ongoing judicial proceedings. The court would need to make findings that there are no less restrictive measures and that the prohibitions are likely to prevent the potential prejudice, and that whatever prohibitions this court decides on are very narrowly tailored. And as the state has explained, the Spencer versus State case from the Arkansas Supreme Court that just issued earlier this year is very helpful, I think, on this issue in explaining the analysis that applies to various different people that might be associated with a criminal case. You have attorneys, that category of trial participants. Certainly the court has the highest degree of ability to be able to restrain the speech of attorneys. And in fact, as I've expressed, the ethical rules require that. But when it comes to trial participants, like witnesses, the standards are more demanding as far as restricting the speech of trial participants. And as the Spencer case pointed out, non-attorney trial participants, the court can impose a restraint on their speech only to the extent that the court first finds that any speech by those non-attorney trial participants poses a serious and imminent threat of material prejudice to the ongoing proceeding. And I think the court also needs to note that there are several people associated with this case who have very significant interests in exercising their First Amendment rights in talking about how this case has affected them. And of course, can't say that one person's First Amendment right is more important than another person's, but there are certainly some people here who have a larger, some people involved who have a larger or a greater interest in speaking than others. And so I think the court needs to take that into consideration if this order is meant to apply beyond just the prosecution team. And then finally, as far as making the order, so we need a clear order, we need a lawful order, and then we need an order that the state can actually comply with. And the state recognizes that there are serious sanctions that this court can impose for violations of a court order, as we've just seen. And so we want to avoid these. We want to avoid litigation over whether there's been a violation.
Right. This is mostly just legal wonk at this point. It's mostly just legal wonk. I imagine this is probably going to continue for the rest of the day, knowing how this stuff goes. So I'm going to pull coverage of this for now. I'm going to continue to monitor it, but it's clear at this point they're just going to go back and forth deliberating about whether or not cameras can get in there or not, whether or not they're going to broadcast this case. So we can just bring you that news when we have it. So I'm going to, we're going to pull out of this coverage for now. And I'll continue to monitor it. And should there be an update, I'll give it to you. So let me just reset my well, see, now I'm interested. What is the defense about to say? I'm back interested.
Of course, the court has reviewed. And the first thing that I want to say is that the order that the court issued is not a prior restraint on any member of the public. And it's certainly not, I think, as the state's motion suggested, some sort of a prior restraint on the press. This has nothing to do with the press. The order, as we noted in our papers, is directed at the conduct of and the court's expectations for counsel. So even if under that order that the court issued, somebody who we could all agree is a witness within the court's definition of that, made public statements which implicated Mr. Robinson's fair trial rights, the potential sanction is on the party who had a duty to make a reasonable effort to notify witnesses that they should not be doing so. If I represented a witness who was accused of saying too much publicly, the first thing that I would tell this court is the order isn't directed at the witness. The order is directed at the counsel for the parties. There may in the future be some theoretical situation where the court issues orders that control the statements or conduct of specific people, but this, or other than counsel, but this order is directed at counsel. And we have no, meaning Mr. Robinson's defense counsel, have no problem complying with the order. And we also think that we understand what a witness is when the court uses that term.
All right. So it sounds to me that the defense is now making the case that there needs to be some serious restraint on the media. It doesn't sound like they are calling for an outright ban of the cameras or the live broadcasts. They just want some restraints. They want some very strict parameters, and they want anybody that violates them to be dealt with on an individual level is what it seems to me that the defense is arguing right now. So it doesn't look like they're going to try to make an argument to remove the cameras, but it looks like they're going to try to make sure that there's very strict monitoring as far as the coverage is concerned. That's what it sounds like to me. I'll pop back in and see if anything changes my mind in the next couple of seconds.
Did or did
Not,
not
we'll move on.
become a potential witness in the eyes of that party. That doesn't make it impossible for the state to comply with the order. It just means that the state needs to be thinking along the way about who its witnesses may be. And that's why in our papers, we refer to it as a
All right.
potential lay witness, because we believe that the court intended it to go beyond members of the prosecution team, which are law enforcement officers, retained experts, retained.
All right. So yeah, you're just getting wonk. You're just getting courtroom wonk. We'll continue to monitor. And maybe when the prosecution gets up, we'll take it live. But really, we're all just waiting for the same thing. What are they going to do? Are they going to let this case be broadcast or not? That's what we're all waiting for. So when that news is brought to you, I'll give it to you. And if we see the prosecution take the stand and make their case, maybe we'll carry that live. But still, no networks are covering this. No networks are currently covering this as far as I can tell. So there you go. All right. Back to Tim Burchett. Again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to play the clip, but we'll read some of the quotes here. Representative Tim Burchett says neocon Republican congressmen are sabotaging Trump ahead of the midterms. He says a lot of folks are undermined. I think you've got staffers in key spots that are crooked. And really, this is why the good idea of term limits is actually kind of a bad idea, because then these crooked staffers end up running everything because they don't have term limits. They're there forever. And in a way, they know more about what goes on than even the members of Congress do. He goes on, I think they're in bed literally or figuratively with lobbyists, and they kill very good pieces of legislation. Well, definitely literally in some cases. That's why you see study committees say they're going to study this bill for a year and then it magically goes away. That's part of the design, because they want to undermine Trump. Ultimately, they hate him because he is cutting off their money. They've got the ear of the paid lobbyist who's probably taking them out for drinks, steak, dinner. Maybe they went to some fancy place, Qatar or Myrtle Beach. You've got speakers and people in leadership, and people are undermining them. Now, Qatar will come up in the news again, and that's just a pull quote from Benny Johnson's interview. But here's the larger story to me. The larger story to me is that clearly the Republicans are sabotaging Trump. And they're just playing a game right now. And maybe they like Trump now. Maybe they do like Trump now, to at least for whatever he can do for them. But the Republican Party is playing this game right now of they're running out the clock. They're running out the clock. And maybe they're throwing the midterms intentionally. But that's going to be the result here. But they're running out the clock. And my frustration is that we tried to warn President Trump. We tried to warn President Trump, and he attacked us. And he said he doesn't want us anymore. So now he's tied to the Republican Party wagon. Now he's tied to the deep state swamp wagon. And maybe that's what he wants. Maybe that's what he's decided. But that's what it is now. And we tried to warn you, President Trump. We tried to warn you not to trust these people. And they're going to end up getting you impeached. And maybe worse, God forbid. Now, I will say, the redistricting efforts are going to favor Republicans big time. There is no doubt that now the redistricting efforts, as they lie, are going to favor Republicans big time. But that doesn't help you in the category of voter turnout. So we really don't know. We really don't know what the results of the redistricting are going to be. We can assume, we can use deductive reasoning and math, and we can assume, okay, this does look like it's going to be good for Republicans. And I think it's a fair assumption. I'm making the assumption. But yet we don't know. Voter turnout is going to be what matters. And right now, voter turnout for Republicans is bad, and it's only getting worse. And now you're going to cross a threshold where a lot of people are just going to go out and vote Democrat just as a protest vote because they're so sick of Republicans, just as a message sending vote to the Republican Party, which is, hey, if we vote for you and you get into power and do nothing, you're not going to get our vote again. You're out. All right, it looks like I think this is the attorney for the media, so that's fine. If the prosecution gets up there to argue their case for cameras or not in the courtroom, we'll pick that up. The media attorney is speaking right now, so we all probably know what he's saying. So I'm not going to take that live, but just a brief update as we have it on the side screen here, monitoring this. Come on. If you want to come on, DMT, I'm getting blown up by DMT right now. He's in the digital studio. Come on. You're in the studio. Pop on that microphone, big boy. Pipe it up. I see you sitting in the digital studio, monitoring the audio. I think the audio's been good today. Until you start talking No, I'm just kidding. He's blowing me up. He's blaming it all on Trump. It's fair. So about yesterday's NDAA, about that, Eric Rice reporting recap of the NDAA. Palantir got $450 million from the Navy. Israel got $650 million from the U.S. Ukraine got $800 million from the U.S. Microsoft and Amazon are going to spend $50 billion creating jobs in India. Trump gold card for legal migration. We stole an oil tanker. Interest rates dropped. Markets followed. Silver is crushing it. Pretty good recap there. Friend of the show, Eric Rice. Guys, what do you think about this Trump gold card? You know, I saw this. The ego is one thing. I can deal with ego. And you know what? I've got an ego. So I can't be too judgmental on ego. No, this is beyond ego. This is like, what is the word I'm looking for? Trump is obsessed with himself. What's the word for that? Self-obsession? I mean, I guess it's self-obsession, self-absorption. Trump is obsessed with himself. I actually think now, I think Trump is going to mint a $500 bill with his face on it, maybe a $1,000 bill. I'm dead serious. This guy is so narcissistic right now. It's insane. With the Trump ballroom and the Trump gold card and his face on everything and his face on the coins and his Trump watches and his Trump vodka. Trump doesn't even wear a watch. It's like, my God, President Trump, this isn't about you. I don't need to see your face on every fucking thing that comes through the Oval Office. It's starting to cross into a totally different realm now that this is all about Trump. This is all about Trump putting his name on everything, Trump putting his face on everything, Trump branding everything. It's starting to get a little nauseating, quite frankly. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at Trump, he's got his gold card with his face. Why? Why do you have your face on this thing? What are we even doing? So somebody calls you up and says, hey, I need one of your $1 million gold cards. Okay, here it is, a picture of me in gold with my face. What? So now you can bring in your H-1B workers. Now you can bring in your cheap labor. And folks, don't be naive. Don't be naive here. They're all crunching the numbers. You think Trump is just landing on these numbers arbitrarily? Of course not. All of his friends are in there. The billionaire class is in there. This is the billionaire class president now. They're all crunching their numbers, folks. They all said, all right. And look, it might benefit the country. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm totally against it, and maybe it's better than the current status, but it's not what you think it is. This isn't some America First policy. Don't kid yourself. This is a Trump, I want to see my face on a gold card and make it all about me. And this is the billionaire donor class that wants to import cheap labor. But the H-1B thing is out of control. Trump has to at least pretend like he's doing something about the foreign workers. So they just crunched the numbers, is all they did. And they said, all right, here's the deal. Here's the number that we can pay, and it'll still be worth it for us to bring in the foreign workers. Trump said, well, what's that number? He said, all right, it's $1 million. So they'll save millions of dollars. They'll save millions of dollars by hiring foreign labor instead of hiring American. So the investment on a gold card will still be profitable for them. And then Trump gets to pretend like he actually did something for the American worker. That's the Trump gold card. And he gets his face on it too. So it's all about him. Because that's what we needed. Now, by the way, this is hilarious. And it looks like, we'll have to pause that. There's what do you think Mike Johnson did after Mike Johnson and Chuck Schumer after passing the NDAA yesterday? What do you think they did? I'll show you that coming up here, but it looks like the prosecution has just taken the stand. So I want to take this live.
On matters of public access to court proceedings and to court documents, and Rule 4-202.04 of the Rules of Judicial Administration also make it clear that the media can appear and do just exactly what they've done in the closed session that we held earlier. So it doesn't make them a capital P party to the case. It makes them a limited purpose party, and they certainly have the right to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mellon. Ms. Visser.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I just want to clarify the issue really, if we boil it down, is if these 23 media entities have met their burden to be a limited purpose party in this case. And I think another part of that is what that means. And really that is what we are primarily concerned with.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does
All right,
that
so it
enable
sounds like
them
all
to
parties
do?
are on the same page.
What
me.
jurisdiction?
So there's no real development here until they give us an answer. There's no real story here until they give us the answer, which is what are they going to do? But it looks like all sides agree that there needs to be public access and there needs to be cameras and everything else. So it looks like they're all on the same page as far as that's concerned. It's just a matter of what are the limits going to be, and then are we going to make sure we punish people that break the rules? So it looks like everybody's on the same page. So I don't see any need to just carry them all saying the exact same thing. And then when they make the announcement about what the access is or isn't going to be, we'll bring that news. So what do you think Mike Johnson and Chuck Schumer did right after the NDAA was passed? What do you think they did? Huh? They worked together. They did it together. Here they are right here, lighting a menorah. Immediately after passing the NDAA, here's Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, Mike Johnson, Randy Fine, and others. I think that's Randy Fine. He looks like he's lost weight, so maybe that's not Randy Fine. That doesn't look like a big, giant fat ass. So I don't know if that is Randy Fine. They passed the NDAA, $650 million for Israel, and then they go sign a menorah. Here it is. Aren't you guys sick of this Qatari influence? Aren't you guys sick of the Muslim Brotherhood? It's so ridiculous. They sign the NDAA and they immediately go hang out with the Muslim Brotherhood. They sign the NDAA and they immediately go hang out with the Qataris. It's unacceptable. We can't let this happen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is in the Capitol, by the way. This is in the United States Congress building, by the way.
Senator Schumer had a hard 330 on the Senate side, but Leader Jeffries is here with us. And what I do want to say is
a hard 330, a hard 33. Come on, guys. Are we serious here? What is going on?
one thing. I don't get involved in their opinions on political issues. That's not my role. But one thing I will say is the two gentlemen to my left are strong and perhaps the best friends of Israel and the Jewish people either side of the aisle has ever seen. So I'd like to have a...
Well, I'm so glad that we can reach that conclusion because, the American people have reached the opposite conclusion. I'm so glad that we have reached the conclusion now, and it's beyond denying that Congress is Israel's best friend. I'm glad we're admitting it. There's no denying it anymore. We're having the conversation because everybody agrees Congress is not America's best friend. Congressional approval is in the tank. Nobody in America liked Congress. Nobody in America is going to talk about how good Congress is. No American says Congress is my best friend. Never heard that anywhere. But boy, oh boy, Israel thinks that. But of course, because Israel owns Congress. So it all makes sense. I'm glad. I assume this is a rabbi up here in the Capitol building. Right after Israel gets $650 million, they all go light a menorah and celebrate how great Israel is. And here comes the Israel lobby, and they say, hey, no matter what, I know Congress is screwing over the United States of America. I know Congress fucks the American people every day, but we're fucking you guys, And we love it. Thank you, Congress. Congress is Israel's best friend. What about the relationship between America and Congress? No, not interested. And by the way, Johnson is about to admit it. He's like, yeah, I just passed this bill, just gave you guys $650 million, and I came right here.
Round of applause for them there. And one more sentence. I do want to say, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a registered independent, but I do want to say as a Jewish American or an American Jew, however you phrase it, that I go to sleep easier at night.
How about a traitor? How about I say it like that? How about you're a traitor? Are you an Israeli or are you an American? Oh, American Jew or Jewish American. No, how about a traitor? You're up here talking about how Israel is Congress's best friend. You're up here celebrating $650 million from the American people to Israel. You're up here with Randy Fine, who celebrates dead kids and has the Israeli flag in his office higher than the American flag. Israel is a foreign country. I don't care whether you're Jewish. I don't care whether you're an American. If you prioritize Israel over America, you're a damn traitor. And this is happening in our Congress. Our entire Congress is traitors. This is outrageous.
Knowing that at the helm of our nation and this institution of Congress,
and they do.
Our people.
So it's like I get mad at this stuff because it's a natural response for any American patriot. For any red-blooded American, this would be your natural response. But this guy's actually honest. He's an honest person. I give him credit. He's honest. He goes up there, says this is all about celebrating Israel. Congress works for Israel. They don't work for the American people. He's up there saying it all. They don't even hide it. Now, you're not supposed to respond to that. You're not supposed to have an issue with that. You're supposed to shut up and just take it like a good American, like a good second-class citizen, like a good slave. But he comes out and says it. He says, oh, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm just an Israeli lobbyist. I'm not loyal to America. I'm just an American Jew. Sounds like a traitor to me. That's what it sounds like.
People who recognize the value we give this nation. So I think that that's important to remember. And thanks, Mr. Speaker, despite all the difficulty, for making it here today.
Sure. Thank you.
Mike Johnson couldn't be bothered to do anything about the January 6th prisoners that were in his district. I just so happened to be one of them. Mike Johnson couldn't be bothered. He couldn't be bothered to deal with a speech prisoner in his district. Multiple speech prisoners, by the way. In Oakdale Federal Correction Institution. In his district, and he couldn't be bothered to address speech prisoners in his district, but he'll make sure to take the time out of the day to go visit the Israelis that he just cut a check for $650 million for. I'm too angry. I'm just going to play the clip. I'm too angry. I can't deal with these people. These people are traitors, folks. They're traitors. They've sold you out.
Thank you, Rabbi, and I apologize for my being a little tardy. I was whipping votes in the back room.
Whipping votes for Israel. Whipping votes to steal money from the American people and give it to foreign countries. Fuck you, Mike Johnson. I'm sorry. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do it. I shouldn't have played that. I'm too pissed off now. I can't do a show. Traitors, folks. These are traitors. Do you understand? Congress is filled with traitors and scum. I want them all arrested. You know what? Arrest them all. I'm in the arrest them all party. Arrest them all. They are all traitors. And they sit up there with a smile and a stupid small hat and say, well, I prioritize Israel. We gave more money for Israel. I made sure to run right over here for Israel immediately after giving you guys a bunch of money. And then the rabbi says, yeah, I don't care about Democrats or Republicans. We just care about Israel. And I'm just supposed to sit here as an American. I'm just supposed to sit here as an American Christian and say, oh, this is good. I'm winning. This is patriotism. This is the Republican Party. This is America first. You're getting screwed. You're getting raped. You're getting enslaved. You're getting robbed. You're getting lied to. Your entire Congress has sold you out. Washington, D.C. doesn't work for you, folks. in case you haven't noticed, in case it's not obvious enough. Washington, D.C. doesn't work for you. They work for their foreign interests and they work for their special interest. And that's all they care about. And that's all they prioritize. Arrest them all. I'm done with you, scum. I'm done with you, traitor. Arrest every single one of them. We, the American people, need to send a loud and clear message to our Congress right now. We do not accept traitors anymore. We do not accept traitors anymore. And we are not going to sit here and be silent while you take our money and give it to foreign countries and foreign wars and special interests. We are done. We have had enough. We want you off our backs. And every single time you scum, every single time you traitorous filth want to get up there with a smile on your face and celebrate how you just stole more of our money to give it to foreign countries, we are not going to sit idly by. And I'm going to tell you this. The left and the right is going to unite in this country. The left and the right is going to unite in this country against all of you traitors. All of you. Yeah, we've got our issues. We've got our political issues. We've got our cultural issues. We've got our differences. We've got our history. But I'm going to tell you right now, the left and the right in America is going to unite against you scum. You are scum. And you are giving us a common enemy. And nothing unites a people like a common enemy. Nothing. And you've now done it. You have now removed the mask. You have now removed the veil. You have now pulled back the curtains. We all see it now. You all sold us out. And then you have the nerve, as the American economy is dying, as the American dream is dying, as the average American is in debt up to their neck, and then you have the nerve to go out here with a smile on your face and talk about how happy you are that Israel just got another $700 million and another 12,000-pound bomb. And how happy you are that Ukraine just got another $800 million so that they continue to steal our money and steal our military weapons. And you sit there and you smile at the American people with their hat in hand, just looking for anything. Arrest them all. Arrest them all, party. I am now declaring I will be starting and running for president for the Arrest Them All party. ATA. Attaboy. Arrest them all. Arrest them all. We, the American people, can never let this happen again. I'm dead serious. When Mike Johnson signed that bill for the NDAA, I want court martials going in there and putting handcuffs on every single politician that just voted to send $800 million to Israel and $650 million to Israel and $800 million to Ukraine. Cuff them. Cuff them. Traitors. Traitors. Cuff them. Never again. We can't tolerate this for another day. And look at how comfortable they are up there all together in their little hats, all smiling and glistening and glad-handing. They just sold you out. And they're happy about it. And they sold you out. And they couldn't be happier. It's like, wow. You try to do something for the American people, and they're all like, they're all smarmy, and they're all upset and cantankerous. And then they sign a bill to give hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars to foreign countries, and it's, yeah, look at us, all right, yeah. Scum, arrest them all. Arrest them all. They are all traitors. You know what we need? You know what we need? We have to have a ticket with a Republican and a Democrat to defeat this monster. I think it probably needs to be like a Massey Kana or like a Green Kana. That's what we need, folks. This has to be defeated. Our country is being hollowed out, folks. You're being robbed up one side and down the other. Do you understand that? Do you understand that $30 trillion, it's probably more than that. Do you understand that $30 trillion in American wealth has gone to foreign countries? Do you understand that? This country is $40 trillion in debt. And we've given $30 trillion of that to foreign countries. If that doesn't outrage you, if that doesn't tell you how this country really operates, if you don't understand, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at what Trump is doing. I'm like, he's doing this intentionally now. Trump is accepting the collapse of the country. And instead he's accelerating it and selling it for parts and scrap to enrich himself and his family and his friends and his foreign donors. That's what I see happening. Trump has accepted the country is collapsing. And maybe when somebody whizzed a bullet by his head, he decided this ain't worth it anymore. So he decided he'd rather live and sell us out. I will support a Marjorie Taylor Greene Ro Khanna ticket if it means getting the foreign scum out of our politics. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a Republican. I don't care if it's a Democrat. I don't care if it's somebody from the we wear a spaghetti pan on our head religion. I don't give a damn. Anybody that's going to come in here and say, we just gave another $1 billion to foreign countries, we're never doing that again, that's who I'm voting for. I don't care. I don't care. And I'm not alone in this, by the way. I'm not alone in this, by the way. And I'll tell you this, as sick as the left has become, I'm not transing my kid. As sick as the left has become, I'm not indoctrinating my kid. As sick as the left has become, I'm not a communist. So as sick as the left is, they can be left to their own demise. They can be left to their own accords. I don't get a choice. I have to fund these foreign wars no matter what. I don't get a choice. I have to give all my money to Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan and all of it and the big tech companies, and I have to be a slave for these people no matter what. No matter what, I am forced into this slavery. If I don't want the left to indoctrinate my kids, I take them out of school. If I don't want the pedophile left to trans my kids, I'll take them out of school. I'll move. I'll do whatever it takes. I can act on my own accord against the left. I can't stop my enslavement of the foreign lobby. We should be outraged as Americans. Outraged. So yes, if this is what we get when we vote for Republicans, if this is the result of a Republican Senate and House and president, then guess what? I don't give a damn if Republicans win anymore. Couldn't care less, because nothing changes. And you can sit here and say, well, the border, well, this, well, that. Do you really think anything has changed? Do you really think as soon as the Democrats get back in power that the border isn't wide open again? Do you really think this administration is stopping the foreign worker problem? You're delusional. Nothing has been done that's going to be permanent here. Nothing has been done that's going to actually fix the country here. Nothing. Ooh, I got a gold card with Trump's face on it. Cool, man. Cool, dude. You got a sellout. You got a narcissistic sellout on a gold card because you think you won. Cool, man. It's like a participation trophy. The entire country has to line against the foreign interests. It's the only way this country is going to be saved. That's it, folks. No, it's never been more obvious. Your country is $38 trillion in debt, and you've given $30 trillion away to foreign interests. Starting to get it? Where do you think they get the money? Oh, where does inflation come from? Oh. You've been sold out, folks. The country is being hollowed out and sold for parts to foreign interests. At least with the special interest, I mean, you could argue these are American companies. At least with the special interest, you could argue, well, I'm in the stock market. I mean, at least with the special interest, there's like a sliver of the pie for you. At least with the special interest, there's like a sliver of that pie that benefits America. But the foreign interests, no, that's just straight up robbery. That's just straight up slavery. I am done. I am done. I don't care about the left and the right. I don't care about the liberals versus conservatives. I'm done. It's worthless. It's meaningless. None of them are serious. And I can at least, as best of my ability, I can at least avoid the left and avoid their indoctrination camps and avoid all the perversion and everything else that comes along with them. It's like I can make life decisions to avoid that if I have to. There is nothing I can do to stop being a slave for Israel. There is nothing I can do to stop being a slave for Ukraine. There is nothing I can do to stop being a slave for foreign interests and foreign wars. There's nothing I can do, no matter who I vote for. And they brag about it. And they stand up there and they say, thank God Israel won again, as Americans continue to suffer. I'm done. I don't care. I don't give a damn. Democrat, Republican, they all suck. They all sell us out. They're all worthless. They're all traitors. They all belong in jail as far as I'm concerned right now. Arrest them all. Arrest them all until something changes. So what we need is a ticket. It needs to be a third party, and it's going to have a Democrat and a Republican on it. Otherwise, you're going to get Newsom-Cortez. That's what you're going to get. We can see what happens in the midterms. It's not looking good, but maybe the redistricting will save it. Maybe. But it won't save the presidential elections. If this administration doesn't stop selling us out, if this administration doesn't stop working for the swamp and the deep state, if there's no deep state arrest, if there's no draining of the swamp, if there's no stopping of the foreign wars and the foreign aid and prioritizing the foreign policy and everything else and cleaning up our elections, one person, one paper ballot, one vote, if none of this stuff happens before 2028, really maybe before 2026, if the Democrats win in 2026, Trump will be impeached, and the Democrats will probably start arresting people. They will probably start arresting people in 2028 that are in the Trump administration. Newsom's already teasing it. Every day Newsom is posting AI videos of Trump and his administration in cuffs. So they're already showing you their plans. They're not joking. So what? So what am I supposed to do? That's what that's what I tried to warn. We tried to warn you, Trump. We tried to warn you. The fighters are gone, man. The new people that surround you, President Trump, they're not going to fight for you. They're not going to protest when you get impeached. They're not going to do anything. They're going to run away. They're going to hide. Now, maybe this has already been discussed and you guys already have a plan for all this and it doesn't matter. But if you really think, if you don't have this plan, if you don't have this figured out, everybody will turn on you in a heartbeat, including the Republicans. And the people that would have fought for you, you've abandoned. You've said you don't want us anymore. So what are we going to do? You sold us out. You piss on our face and tell us it's raining. I'm just outraged. I'm just so sick of it, man. So that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have a third party. And it's going to have to prioritize stopping all foreign aid and stopping all foreign wars that we're involved in. Has to be done. It's the only way. It's the only way to save the country, folks. It's the only way. It's never been more obvious. So I would support a ticket for a third party that had a Republican and a Democrat on it. I think Ro Khanna, probably the best that the Democrats have to offer. Maybe somebody else emerges. I'm hearing RFK Jr. wants to run again. At this rate, nobody from this administration is going to be electable, even the good ones. It's going to have to be like a Marjorie Taylor Greene and a Ro Khanna and a third party ticket. And they have to run specifically on ending foreign aid. And they'll win. They will win. This is the winning message. Democrats and Republicans will vote for a ticket that stops the foreign grift, that stops our country from being hollowed out, that stops our countrymen from being enslaved by the foreign interests and the special interests. And you're starting to see it now. People are saying, I'm not voting. Big Republicans, big Trump supporters, they're not voting. Why? Why would we go vote? Tell me what I'm voting for now. More foreign aid, more foreign wars, more special interests, more donor class control. Tell me why a Republican would go vote. Make the case to me right now that the swamp is being drained. Make the case. All these cheerleaders, all these sunshine patriots will disappear as soon as the weather changes. All of these sunshine patriot cheerleaders waving the pom-poms and taking the pictures and doing the poses and getting the access and faking the status. They will all disappear as soon as it costs them anything. As soon as that cost-benefit analysis changes and all of a sudden they realize it's costing them to support this, they're out, they're gone. They're not here to take a loss. They're here to take a profit. That's it. I probably just shouldn't even have played that clip. So let me just shut up and just cover these news stories and these other clips here. I'm just sick of it, folks. I'm just sick of it. I think we all are. I can't even cover news anymore. I just can't even do it. I'm so sick of it all. Maybe I should just take calls. Well, they claim they're going after Antifa. This is from a hearing yesterday. The administration claims they're taking on Antifa.
Executive Board of Domestic Terrorist Organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is the Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist?
Folks, do you understand? This is Benny Thompson, a dud, an intellectual midget. This administration is so pathetic that Benny Thompson is getting the upper hand in a congressional hearing now. Benny Thompson.
If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean? We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
So they have no answers. They have no clue. They don't know anything. Benny Thompson is now getting an upper hand on the Trump administration during congressional hearings. my gosh. Hey, but at least we got a gold card, guys. We got a gold card and we seized a Venezuelan oil tanker. So enjoy. Enjoy the show. And your favorite influencer. Your favorite influencer is at the White House. Yay, look at me. I got a picture with Trump. Look at me. I'm in the Pentagon. Look at me. I'm in Mar-a-Lago in a fancy dress. Look at me. I'm turning my heel right now under the desk. You can't see it. You want to see my bare foot? You want me to turn my heel on the table? There. I'm done with all of you. If you're not willing to call this out, if you're not willing to call out the lack of results from this administration, if you're not willing to accept the reality that you, an American, and your country has been sold out to foreign interests and special interests, and that Washington, D.C. responds to the donors and not the voters, if you're not willing to accept these realities, then I'm done with you. You're worthless. You're worthless. You are a useful idiot. You're not a patriot. You're not even trying to be. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm turning heel. All of you suck. All of you suck. And you're going to get the suck, and you're going to embrace the suck. And then eventually you're just going to bail. When it's too much for you, you're just going to bail. Well, I guess I got some good news here. We could, hey, how about this? Maybe this is some good news. Trump administration taps election fraud crusader to help lead FEMA. I don't know why he's at FEMA, but we're talking about Greg Phillips, a good American. The activist Greg Phillips shot to fame after launching the narrative that millions of illegal votes were cast in the 2016 election. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're all convinced that Joe Biden got 190 million votes or whatever it is you're claiming. Yeah, that was totally real. Joe Biden got more votes than Obama. Joe Biden got more votes than Trump. Yep, totally above board. Yeah, Greg Phillips, he's crazy for being for having basic common sense. He ran True the Vote, and now he's leading FEMA's Office of Response and Recovery. So that's good news. There you go. That's some good news. But then again, as you just saw in the hearing, they don't know. They don't have any answers on Antifa. They don't have any answers on Act Blue, set to raise $2 billion this year. So Act Blue is going to have probably over $3 billion in its treasure chest for the midterm elections. And where is Pam Bondi? And where is the administration? Well, I guess you know the answer to that, don't you? They're on Fox News, and they're in a foreign country. This is partially good news. Trump says he will consider wiping federal gambling winnings tax while his top donors own casinos. So let's not wave the pom-poms and do the high leg kick quite yet. His major donors own casinos, folks. Okay? Now think of it like this. Trump is considering ending taxes on gambling winnings. I support that, by the way. I do support that. But why stop there? Why not just end the federal tax? Why not just end the federal income tax, President Trump? Why are you just doing it for your casino magnate donors? Why are you screwing us, President Trump? Why are you doing this to us, man? You're breaking my heart. You're breaking our heart, Mr. President. Can you please turn it around, or is it over? Just tell us if it's over. Just tell us if you're done with us. Stop lying to us. Stop pretending to be Trump from 2016 if you're not. Just stop. If they're blackmailing you, if they tried to kill you and you're done, it's not worth your life, fine. Just tell us. Just tell us so we can know what's going on. It's like, yeah, here you go. It's like, you know, your wife gets home or your husband gets home and your husband has another woman's perfume on his clothes and lipstick and maybe a hickey and the hair's a little disheveled and, you know, maybe there's a little something going on in the nether regions. And it's like, yeah, it's It's like, you're cheating on me. It's like, that's Trump right now. He's like, he's got the makeup on his collar. There's a strange perfume. It's like, well, have you been, that's not my perfume. That's not my lipstick. No, good. I'm glad. Let's end the gambling tax, because so many people listening to this are making big money gambling. So many people are thinking, man, all those winnings from the casinos, all those winnings from those bets, I just can't afford the tax. Yes, so many people are thinking that. No, this is the casino magnate donors. This is the donor class saying, hey, people aren't gambling anymore. They can't afford it. Will you cut the taxes on gambling so the gambling numbers are going up again? We're making tons of money, but now they can't afford the taxes when they win. So could you do us a favor and let us steal their money and then have them not think about paying taxes on if they win? Sure, I got you. We're going to eliminate the federal income tax. Yeah, all right. On gambling winnings. Oh. Just eliminate the federal income tax. If you love America, President Trump, eliminate the federal income tax. No, you love your donors. You love your donor, your casino owner donors. But Trump is, I don't know. Maybe this gives you an idea of where things are at. Trump seems to not even know what 5G is or even anything about it. Listen to this from yesterday's meeting.
So we're into 6G now. I just 5G. I was a leader on 5G getting that done, and now they're up to 6.
What is he even talking about? He was a leader on 5G and getting that done? First I've heard of that. Who's ever heard of Trump being part of 5G? What is he even talking about? He's just making it up. So he just completely just makes this thing up. And then he thinks it's about camera resolution.
Let's do it again. What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin? See how perfect it is? I like the cameras the old days. So they just had a nice feature. Now they cover every little. Let's see, Michael, you're in good shape. You're not gonna. But I tell you, it's the 6 is coming, huh?
What is he talking about? So he thinks he was a pioneer of 5G cell phone technology, which, what? But then you realize he's not even talking about he's not even talking about cell phone technology. He's talking about video resolution, I guess, and 4K. I don't know what else he could be talking about. So I think he's getting 5G confused with 4K. So then now he's saying he was a pioneer of 4K video technology? Folks, what are we even doing? What in the hell is going on? What a disaster. What a complete disaster.
You're listening to the Owen Report on the Win Network.
Maybe you can't blame me. Maybe you can't blame me for my outbursts today. Maybe it's not my fault. Maybe I've had too much coffee. But you know what? I don't think you can have too much coffee, actually. Is that even a real thing? Not when it's Blackout Coffee. Not when it's blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. Hey, by the way, if you haven't tried the premium instant coffee, more reviews are coming in. I'm telling you, greatest thing. Greatest thing. Yes, the Blackout coffee bags are going to be your new favorite coffee. And if you like brewing coffee at home and having a pot of coffee ready to go, drinking 3 or 4 cups, you're going to love it. You're going to love the Brutal Awakening Dark Roast, the Morning Reaper Medium Roast, the Smooth Finish Light Roast. But I got to tell you, you get your hands on the instant coffee, you're going to rethink everything. You're going to rethink the way you consume coffee. You're going to rethink the way you even think about coffee. All of a sudden, you're going to think coffee. You're going to think premium instant coffee from blackoutcoffee.com/Owen. That's what's going to happen. More people are telling me by the day that, dang, this is good stuff. Never had an instant coffee that actually tastes like coffee and not watered down crap. Well, that's because you've never had Blackout instant coffee. Premium instant coffee. Try it today. blackoutcoffee.com/Owen.
No one can stop this. 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 No one can stop this.
It's the fastest 3 hours on the internet. It's the Owen Report with Owen Schroyer.
Well, guys, they are no longer covering the courtroom, so I guess a decision has been made. I'm not seeing anything in the news yet. I think they lulled everybody to sleep. But my guess is they will allow basic media access to the Tyler Robinson case. That seemed to be the direction of the prosecution, the defense, and the media attorney. They just wanted to have extreme scrutiny on the members of the press that had access. But I'm guessing that was the result. I haven't seen anything in the news, but I'd say it's safe to say that's the guess. All right, joining me now is Taylor Lorenz. And Taylor, I've had a bit of an interesting show. I've kind of blown a gasket today. Maybe a couple gaskets even, and I'm just so sick of my country being sold out to foreign and special interests. And I'm ready to unite with the left now, despite our despite our past, despite everything. I'm ready to unite with the left to end this foreign grift and special interest grift. I think you might feel the same. Now, I bring you on for a different reason, but I kind of want to start with that just because that's the current energy that I have. Would you ever be willing to vote for a ticket? Because this is where I'm at. I'm just looking for somebody anti-establishment on the left and the right. I'm looking for somebody that's anti-foreign interests on the left and the right. And right now, I think the only person I can see on the left is Ro Khanna, that I would support being on a ticket.
Sort of on some things, but on tech policy, he's terrible. But
Well, that's what you're here to get into is tech policy. And by the way, I know what's going to happen because it happens every time we talk. I have these people on the right and they're like, why would you platform Taylor? What is wrong with you? Nobody on the right reached out to me about the story that you have. Not a single person. I get people reach out to me all the time. And it's mostly kind of their own personal story or their own personal interest thing, which is fine. There's room for that. I don't have a problem with that. But nobody on the right wing has reached out to me with this story, with this free speech issue, except you. So, okay. All right, Taylor Lorenz, you want to carry the torch? Go ahead. What's the story?
Yeah, it's me and 5 other, libertarians that care so much about speech. It's frustrating. I mean, I texted Tucker Carlson this morning to try to get him to talk about it. I feel like he should, he likes to go against the establishment. Where is he on this issue?
Well, he's in Qatar. So
I know. Apparently, he's visiting, which good for him. He's visiting the Palestinian refugees.
See that. I have that in my news today. I might get to that. Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, anybody who's speaking out about the genocide in Gaza is good. But so what I want to talk about is this horrible campaign of censorship. We're seeing this package of bills. It's 18 of them that are currently making their way through the House, all under the guise of protecting children. Essentially, what they're all pushing is age verification and censorship and surveillance of the internet. So it's a bipartisan initiative.
The same stuff that we were talking about before. They're just moving the ball downfield on it now.
Exactly. Yes. It's the Kids Online Safety Act, which is what we talked about before, but now they've got even worse bills attached to it. So they also have what's called the Screen Act, the App Store Accountability Act. All of these laws remove anonymity from the internet and allow the government broad powers to censor speech by pressuring these platforms, essentially to remove any content that seemed harmful for kids. They're similar to what we've seen pass in the UK and Australia recently. And you can see how that's played out. It's resulted in mass censorship of everything from literally the subreddit on war crimes is censored to, SpongeBob SquarePants
We all
gifs.
know why that is.
Exactly. But that's what people need to understand. Like, if you think adult content means porn, like, sure, you can say, yeah, we don't want kids to watch porn. And there are ways to sort of mitigate access to that. But once you start making these broad generalizations of protecting kids from adult content, what it is non-government approved content. And that should anger anybody on the left or the right, anybody who just doesn't believe in the government having complete control and say over our information ecosystem.
Well, I want to ask you the question. I've got my own answers, and you can feel free to volley it back to me. So what do you think the solution is? Because I think most people would agree we don't want kids exposed to this stuff on the internet, and there's a purpose there. It comes from a good place. So what do you think the solution is, right? They want to get the government involved. They want to have all these laws and legislation that we know will infringe on other speech. So do you—
and will endanger kids. Well, these laws endanger kids. Not only do they endanger kids by cutting off access to things like, for websites where they can go and report abuse and wrongdoing, addiction forums for young girls suffering with eating disorders. Not only are we doing all of that harm, but we're also pushing kids to even more extreme parts of the internet that don't follow these laws, that don't censor anything, that have no oversight. So that's really dangerous. What we could do, though, proactively to protect kids online, which I agree, like, it's not a great place for kids to be on the internet, is pass comprehensive data privacy reform. So you hear a lot of these people say, well, these internet algorithms are so addicting. These platforms are preying on kids. Guess what? All of these child online safety bills, they're going to make that problem worse. They're allowing these tech companies to harvest even more data, including biometric data on children. So what we want is to actually allow them to harvest less data so that they can't be targeting children and targeting adults with predatory advertising, feeding them these algorithms that they have no control over, et cetera, et cetera. And we need a lot more transparency as well in terms of what content's being censored, who's being shadow banned, of seeing sort of the just opening up the hood a little bit on these platforms and seeing how they're ranking content.
Well, I would also, I'd answer my own question there, but it sounds to me that this is all going in a direction of, and maybe this is why it's targeting the youth. It's all going in this direction of, we're going to eventually treat the internet like reality. And so it's like, okay, I have an ID, right? And so if I want to go to a bar or something, I have to show my ID.
No, not a bar. No. If this was in reality, first of all, it's nothing like showing an ID. Showing your ID, you show it once to somebody and then you put it away. You don't enter that into some permanent database that's then exposed and that the government can have easy access to. You don't, to read the newspaper or to pick up and see exactly which article. Imagine if you had to permanently scan your face and enter the government ID, and then that government ID was tagged to tracking every single article that you read, every single piece of content that you saw. There is no equivalent to this in the real world. You would have to have like permanent 24/7 video surveillance.
Let me rephrase, because I think you're misunderstanding what direction I'm going here. What I'm saying is the internet as we know it today, where I can just log on and I'm on the internet, right? I mean, there's nothing really blocking me from going where I want to go on the internet. There might be some banned sites or some things you got to do to avoid. I know in Texas we have laws here against porn sites. So it's like, okay, that's like the one area of the internet maybe I couldn't go in Texas. But to me, it's like they kind of want to turn it into. It's like now when you're online, now there's all kinds of barriers. It's like now there's a government barrier. There's a government gatekeeper everywhere you want to go. So now it's like you just don't log on to the internet and do your thing. Now you log on to the internet and you're just constantly being followed around by your AI government sponsor.
Yes. And by the way, that government can turn around and, levy terrorism charges at you if you, consume the wrong content or engage in the wrong activity, or maybe you run a red light one day and they've been tracking all your data and they run your stuff and they say, oh, you're you're engaging in some real suspicious activity there. Oh, you're criticizing Israel. Why were you reading this website? Why were you going here? That's the surveillance state that we're building. And that's terrifying. We should not want that, especially given the government's track record. We shouldn't trust the government. I don't care who's in power in the government. I can promise you as a journalist, the government lies no matter if a Democrat or a Republican is in power. They're here. They want to protect the interests of the government and the state. We should protect our interests as citizens and people and protect our rights. And I think that the greatest thing that we have in this country is the First Amendment, the ability to speak freely and the ability to speak truth to power and the right to consume information. If I just want to sit there and consume, say I just want to sit there and consume propaganda all day, there's a Supreme Court case that says I have the right to do that. You have the right to consume whatever information you want to consume, but the government doesn't want that. They don't want you finding out about certain subreddits or police violence or, violence, IDF or whatever.
Yeah, they'll block WikiLeaks or they'll
Exactly.
force the sale of TikTok. Taylor, it's so funny because I have these conversations now, more and more so, and I'm scratching my head and I'm like, you just said things right now that probably half of the right wing they just won't say. They just will not say. They won't say, oh, I don't trust the government. The government's not trustworthy, or hey, we need to be aware of the AI surveillance state and big tech censorship on the internet. My assumption is it's because Trump is in power and these people don't want to say anything negative about Trump. They're obsessed. They're in a cult, or they've built an entire brand and personality off of it. So they have no other choice. They're branded by it now. There's no wiggle room for that. I have to say, it's amazing for all the crap that you've gotten over the years, and quite frankly, all of the cringe content that you've created over the years. No, it's amazing. It's amazing to me. I've said this to other liberals that I talk to now. It's amazing to me. I hear that more from the left now than I do from the right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, guys, what is going on here? Why aren't these people in the right wing willing to say the things that you just said?
I think they're complete cowards. And let's not, to be fair, you have establishment shills on both sides. When Biden was in power, a lot of these liberals were completely silent. They were silent about the genocide in Gaza. They were silent about the TikTok ban. Joe Biden passed the TikTok ban. Let's not forget that. Trump continued it. But I just want people to realize that both these political parties are actually aligned on quite a lot of things, including stripping the rights of a lot of Americans to free speech. So I think that people just need to start paying attention to the system and stop putting people in these stupid categories of left and right. It's just meant to divide us. It's really corrosive. I think most Americans just want, our civil liberties. We want our rights. We want to live a basic good life. And I think that these people that have decided they're in some political cult, again, no matter what side you're on, they're total grifters and they shouldn't be trusted.
Yeah, I kind of reached a boiling point today. I'm actually a lot more calm. I kind of like peaked and exploded in the atmosphere like a rocket, and now like the debris is kind of slowly, beautifully though. It's beautiful. We're falling. It was a beautiful explosion. The rocket blew up mid-flight, but look at the beautiful rubble falling to the earth so beautifully, so perfectly. It was the best explosion you've ever seen, Taylor. We have the best explosions. Our rockets blow up, but when it's a Trump rocket, it's the best explosion you've ever seen. Nobody can doubt it. Okay, so we're the blood pressure is a little calm now. What is it like for somebody that's kind of on the left? Well, you know what? Before I go there, let me ask you this. Before I go to that question, let me ask you this. Because I think my mindset kind of applies the same here, which is like, I don't think that pornography should be illegal. I don't think that adult content websites should be illegal. However, I would make the argument that these websites, that porn in general in the American society, which we just found out Americans spend more money on OnlyFans than every other country on earth combined, by the way. I think that pornography as an industry and an activity, a consumption, is more dangerous than even marijuana. I think it's one of the most dangerous things for our civilization. I think it's destroying people's brains. The science is in that it can destroy your brain, but I don't want to make it illegal. I think ultimately it's a personal choice, right? I think it's ultimately a personal choice. Is that kind of the mindset you have with the internet too? It's like, look, it has to be free. We can have parameters and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's your own personal choice. Just like at the end of the day, it's the parents' responsibility to monitor their children's activity.
Absolutely. And I am all for giving parents more parental controls, right? Putting control back in the users. If you're a parent and you feel like, listen, I don't want my child exposed to this stuff, you should have more controls over over your child's online experience if you want to kind of, turn the iPad off in certain ways or whatever. That's fine. No one's against that, really. I think when the government steps in and declares, these anti-porn initiatives, you have to see what they declare as porn. And the problem is, Owen, as you probably know, is that this is a very slippery slope. This has been traditionally a very slippery slope where, porn is suddenly basically any content that they don't like, often graphic content. So there'll be, again, like depictions of violence. This is why you couldn't see Israeli war crimes, right? Because that was like adult material. And so this idea of adult material just goes south very quickly. I don't think it's what a lot of people sort of consider porn. And it can also be sex ed, which we want young people to be educated about their bodies. I totally think, like, listen, I think that there's a lot of, whatever about that, but I don't think we want to raise a world where, 17-year-old girls like are getting pregnant because they don't know how their bodies work. Okay. We want them to have some sort of ability to gain access to information about their bodies. How that happens, whatever. But I just think that we need to preserve people's access to information. And there are things on the left and right. Like, you could pick issues on the left and you could pick issues on the right, right? Like, you could pick issues. There are a lot of leftist issues that people want access to information on. I care more about those. But there's a lot of like right-coded things that people want access to information on. They censor, access to information on guns, on firearm safety, on addiction issues. Like, there's just so many different things in our world, just the way that you can go to the library and check out lots of books, right? We don't ban books in this country, theoretically. More and more we do, but we shouldn't. And people of all ages deserve access to that information. And the problem is, once you start trying to cut that access to information off from kids, the only way to determine who's a kid and who's an adult is identity verification or age verification. And if you can't comply with that age verification, suddenly you don't get access to really crucial information. And people deserve the right to access information anonymously as well.
Do you think if the Muslim Brotherhood ran the porn industry, it would get shut down and made illegal?
God, I have no idea. I don't think they would run the porn industry.
You're gonna pass, huh?
But I do. I mean, I think that, like, I think porn is villainized in a really intense way. And look, I'm not here to weigh in on the effects of, like, sort of what I don't know enough about kind of what types of porn affect whatever. I'm familiar with, like, the corrosive effect of certain types of online content. Okay, I don't think anybody would think that, like, kids
You're
that
not
are
lobbying. You're not an unofficial lobbyist here, are you? We know you go to the events, Taylor. I don't think you
What events?
participate.
The Pornhub events or whatever.
Yeah.
I went to, because, of all the companies that stand for free speech, ironically, they do a lot. I went on their podcast. They do a lot to protect free speech. And listen, I gun companies that protect free speech, I support any companies that are out there using their money and resources to protect the First Amendment and to protect the right to free expression. I will stand by. I will show up anywhere. I will go anywhere. I don't care if it's left or right. I think this is an issue that every American should care about. These are supposed to be American values: the right to free expression, the right to information. We should have that. That is something that is like the main thing that we have in America that's good, in my opinion. And so,
and here's how I measure it too, because I'm about logical consistency. And if logic can't be applied universally, it's not logic, it's propaganda. And so you may have seen this in the Diddy case, the new argument that they're trying to make in his defense. It's like, hey, I was just hiring I was just doing amateur porn. So they're saying, they closed the case and they're saying, oh, well, you transported a prostitute across state lines. That's a crime. Yeah. And so now Diddy's defense is saying, oh, no, we filmed it. It's just porn. To me, this is a long overdue argument. They make prostitution illegal. Okay. So prostitution is illegal, but I can hire you and film it. And now all of a sudden it's legal.
No, that's not true. That's not. I'm eager to see how that case plays out. But no, if you film a sex act, that does not automatically count it as porn. And there's a lot to litigate there, and there's a lot of case law in that area. But I'm not familiar with the specifics of the Diddy case. But to anyone out there who thinks that they can do that, that's not something that you will lose that lawsuit if that's what you're trying.
It doesn't make sense to me. But if I'm a production company, I can do it.
Well, okay, but if you are a production company, you have certain laws that you have to abide by. You have certain regulations, and you can't just go. And if you're going to claim again that you're a legitimate production company, I don't think he's going to win that. I don't think that's going to be a
Well, I don't
successful
care as
argument
much
for
about
him.
it. I just think it's a logical inconsistency is all. Let me ask you this. This is the question I wanted to ask you before. So, it's one thing from my perspective, watching what's happening with MAGA, or watching what's happening with the Trump administration. My perspective is obviously different than yours. What is it like for you watching this? Kind of somebody that I guess I don't know. You might try to be. Would you say you're a moderate leftist? I don't know what if you would even.
I think I'm pretty leftist, but I think I'm leftist in a way that I want civil liberties. I believe in everybody's individual rights and freedoms. I'm a very strong believer in that.
But
But
you're definitely not on the right. You're very rarely on the right.
yeah, I'm not on the
too many
right.
issues. So
Unless,
what's it
I mean,
like-
some things, unless it's like speech, which is a right coded issue. But yeah, I'm not generally on the right. I'm not a Trump
Yeah.
supporter for sure.
Well, that football goes back and forth. The left used to fight for free speech, and it was the
Yeah.
right. Now it's kind of like
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No,
I
it's
just
no
want to know,
one.
what is it like for somebody on your side of the political aisle, or wherever it is you stand on certain issues? What is it like for you watching what's going on with MAGA or the Trump administration? How would you summarize it from your perspective?
I think it's always nice to see people that you don't necessarily support kind of implode on themselves. I think that the MAGA base has I think there's just a lot of inconsistencies. I think Trump has been a huge letdown to a lot of his base. I think that he's failed to deliver on a lot of his promises. And I think a lot more people in the MAGA base are realizing that he's not going to deliver on the things that he claimed to, like the Epstein files, like all this other stuff, that he's not actually going to fight, but that he ultimately is just another stooge for Israel. I mean, I just think there's a lot more people honestly waking up to the problems with the system, which makes me happy, because I don't want those people to turn around and vote for Democrats necessarily. I want them to fight for a system that is against corporate power, that is against institutional power, that puts the hands back, in the people, power of the people, and fights for individual rights and liberties. And I guess the silver lining of all the MAGA drama is that more people are realizing, they're just not bought into this two-party system, which I ultimately think is very corrosive. Because I just want to be very clear, I hate the Democrats. I hate the Democrats, I think, more than some people in MAGA hate the Democrats. So I'm not a stooge for them either.
No, we don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody.
I hate a lot of people.
See, that's why you're a leftist. That's why you're a leftist, because leftists have hate in their heart.
I don't have hate in my heart, but I don't fuck with.
You hated a bunch of people.
Yeah, but I hate them now. If they change their, if they start doing good things, I'll love them. I have an open heart of love. If they want to,
Are you fickle?
I think I just want I don't care so much about labels. I really care about policy, and I really care about who walks the walk and who talks the talk. If Trump got into office and started enacting great policies that I supported, I would happily support him. I have nothing against sort of supporting somebody from, the other team. I want policies that are going to help working class Americans, and I don't think either political party is doing that.
Yeah, that's true. Typical leftist, hate in your heart, fickle. Come on, Taylor. You're
I'm
better.
a lover, not a hater.
They're gonna say you're out here stumping for the industry. I don't believe that's the case.
There's no what industry, guys? What industry wants free speech? I'm stumping against all the big tech companies. All the big tech companies are for this legislation. This is going to greatly consolidate their power.
That's why I wanted to ask before I let you go here. So where can people get more information? Because like I said, nobody's bringing this up to me. Nobody's hitting me up with this. You're the only one that did. There's not even a buzz. There's no buzz in DC. There's no buzz in the media.
Yeah, there is. I mean, there is in the civil liberties world, but I agree, it is very small. And you're right that not people are not talking about it because no one actually cares about free speech. I would say the Foundation for Individual Rights and Freedom, FIRE, has done great work on this. Electronic Frontier Foundation has done great work. If you go to badinternetbills.org, badinternetbills.com, that's Fight for the Future, which is a civil liberties org, did a website that breaks down a lot of these bad laws. It's a lot of libertarian orgs, I guess. Tech Dirt, I would say, has done a great. Mike Masnick at Tech Dirt does a great job. If you want to go find a place for tech news, the website looks like it was made in 1995, but Tech Dirt.
We like 1995 here. I'm okay with that.
It's good. He's a liberal, so heads up, but he does a good job advocating for trigger warning, everyone, trigger warning. But whatever, it's a good website on tech policy.
Well, let me say, this is the whole trigger warning thing. there's nothing the left can really do to trigger me right now because you guys have no power. So I'm
Yeah.
sick of these people. I'm sick of these people on the right. The only thing I'm triggered by is the right. I'm triggered by the right wing and the conservatives and the Republicans that suck. I'm
What
triggered
side
by-
are you on, Owen, with all of this? Are you
Here we
anti-Trump
go.
now?
Well, yeah, I'd say I'm totally. I don't like this administration. I'd give it an F. I give it an
Yeah.
F. I give this administration an F. And I was saying this the other day on my show. I'm so glad that you just brought that up because I get asked this question, different topics. They say, "Well, what side are you on?" I'm so sick, and I'm not mad at you, but it's just like I'm on the side of truth. I'm on the side of consistency. I don't pick a personality, right? I'm on the side of what's true, what's logically consistent.
Mhm.
So that's the side that I'm on. But no, I right now I give this administration an F. I'd give it. You know what? I'll give it a D just because Trump freed the January 6th prisoners. That meant a lot to me. A lot of those guys were my friends. In my eyes, you may disagree. In my eyes, those were innocent men and women that were rotting in prison, and Trump freed them. These were speech prisoners, and Trump freed them. So for that, I don't know if I could ever go down as an F, just because to me, that will always be very important. That will always be very important to me. Beyond the pardon that I got, it was mostly inconsequential for me. I'd already served my time and finished my probation. But so I don't know if I'd ever give it an F just for that. Freeing my friends from prison meant a lot to me personally. But outside of that, I'd say it's been a total unmitigated disaster. We got more war in the Middle East. We still can't get out of Ukraine. They just gave them another $800 million there. And now we're going into Venezuela. Like, what the hell is going on with that? I know you would probably disagree with my frustration here, but I'm like, where are the deep state arrests? Where are the crooked liberals and Democrats? And
I would love to see that. What are you talking about? I would love if Trump actually drained the swamp and actually arrested all of these corrupt, billionaire, like elite sort of global, like there is this corrosive class in DC of people that I think is cross party lines that are terrible. I think Jeffrey Epstein is sort of indicative of this, and I think that's why that resonated with so many people. And I just think a lot of the stuff you're saying applies to people, how so many people I speak to feel, where they're very sick of this system. And they're very sick of, I think they thought Trump was going to come in and do all of this stuff and be their savior. And like you said, he has this cult of personality. I would argue he has never, that he was always kind of a fraud. He was never going to do that stuff. But I think that whether you're on the left or the right, I think just a lot more people are realizing that, yeah, we need leaders that actually care about the American people, care about working class people, care about Americans, don't want to send $800 billion to Israel, which we have to be loyal to for some reason. Like, I think all of that stuff is stuff that actually a lot of Americans feel, no matter where they sort of stand politically.
I agree. And I think the midterms are about to reflect that in a way that most people aren't ready for, quite frankly. I think the midterms and that process, the campaigns, are going to really shed light on that in ways that a lot of Americans, specifically people on the right, just aren't ready. They're just not ready for it. So we try to prepare them, but they're not ready. Unofficially announced I'm starting a new party today. I'm just curious if you'd be interested. It's the Arrest Them All Party. It's the Arrest Them All Party, ATA, attaboy. It's the ATA party, Arrest Them All. Are you curious about my party?
Who are you arresting? We already arrest more people. We have more people in prison than.
No. I'm talking about DC. I'm talking about Congress. I want them all arrested.
Congress?
Yeah, I'll arrest every single one.
I would love to see a lot stricter term limits in Congress. First of all, half of Congress should be in jail. Half of Congress.
You're balking. You don't want to join my party. It's fine.
Criminals. I'm interested in the party. I'm not a member of either political party, so I don't know if I'd join on.
Traitors. I'm reaching the point where they're all traitors.
There's
like maybe 20 or 30 people in Congress that I would confidently say are not traitors. The rest of them, I'm not. I'm more. You're probably a traitor. If I don't know, it's like if I don't know by now you're not a traitor. It's like if you haven't shown me the signs that you're not a traitor, then I have to assume you're a traitor at this point.
Well, this is why, by the way, they want to censor speech. Like this feeling that you're articulating and this like groundswell of momentum that people are feeling I think you're right, by the way, that there's a lot of criminals in Congress, but this broad sentiment on the internet and among the public is why they are cracking down so aggressively on speech. And that is why they're seeking to ram through these 18 bills, because they want to gain control of the media ecosystem, gain control of the internet, and shut all of that down so that everybody just goes back to, voting their little party lines and, lobbying their congressman and getting in line and never questioning the system. That is what they want. And so I think we need to use our voices while we can to challenge those powers.
We're going to be competing. It's going to be the AttaPack. ATAPAC, ATAPAC. We got a lot of competition in DC right now, but we're a startup. You know, we're a small startup, and we've got high hopes. We've got a lot of fervor. We're not short on energy or commitment, and we're going the distance, Taylor. Whether you want to join my party or not, we're going the distance.
If the party is the party for free speech, and if you have a good tech policy platform, I will support.
Well, if we arrest all the Congress, who's going to be there to pass these bills? See,
we got to put new people in Congress. Yeah. Don't you think they should absolutely have term limit? The fact that we have all these 80 and 90 or people with dementia.
I agree with the fact that the olds have to go. The olds, I'm sorry to say, I don't do the generational warfare. I don't have anything against the older generations. I respect my elders, but I think it's pretty clear right now. The boomer class and the olds have to go. You guys have destroyed everything. And it feels to me right now like they're stealing everything they can before they leave. That's what this administration is starting to represent to me, that they're going to steal whatever isn't nailed to the wall before they leave, before their generational run is over. And it's the younger generations, the Gen X's, the millennials, before we decide to get in power and how we want to run the country. It's like they're stealing everything they can from us before their time is up. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I think that's their goal. I mean, that's definitely Nancy Pelosi and all of those people. That's what they just want to enrich themselves. They want to do a few more insider trades, before they go out. But they all need to go. I think they should be forced to retire. I don't think we should have all these old people in there to begin with.
Yeah. The only issue with term limits is in the staffers run everything.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't think of that. Well, let's wipe everyone. Term limits for staffers, too.
Oh,
nobody gets to stay in.
Them all. You're coming around, Taylor. You're coming around. Arrest them all. That'll stop it. All right, Taylor Lorenz, where can people follow your work, or if they want to see your coverage of these internet censorship bills, where can they find it?
Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a series called Free Speech Friday, where I talk about bad laws every Friday. We talk about speech, free speech, laws that affect speech, mostly tech laws. So subscribe to my YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter, and yeah, I'm everywhere else. All
right, Taylor, you're going to come around. You're going to be joining the Arrest 'Em All party soon. I can tell. I can already.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
You were introduced immediately. You rejected, but now you're a little curious. People. You're a little bi-curious.
I'm gonna wait and see the logo.
Ooh, all right, we got to work on that logo. All right, Taylor, thanks for joining us, and we'll be in touch.
Having me. Bye, guys. Bye.
The Arrest 'Em All party, guys. We're winning. We're winning hearts and minds. Day by day, we're winning hearts and minds. I'm serious though. I'm serious. I'm so fed up with the DC establishment. I'm so fed up with the Republican Party. I don't care who I have to align with to drain this swamp. I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't care who I have to align with. I don't care if I have religious or theological differences. I don't care if I have identity politics differences. I don't care if I have political policy differences. I don't care if I have any of these differences. I don't care. I do not care. I am willing to align with anybody right now that is actually ready to drain the swamp, that is actually willing to save the country. I don't care. I don't care. That's all that matters to me now. That's all that matters to me. And if this administration isn't going to do it, then fine. Fine. So then we'll find somebody that will. If they can survive. If they can stay alive. So I'm just fed up. I don't know, man. It's like to just watch them pass that NDAA and then immediately brag about how they stole our money again and gave it to foreign countries. It was it. I crossed a barrier, folks. I can't. I got a lot of news here. I just don't even know if I can work myself up to cover it, quite frankly. It's like this. We played the clip yesterday. Elon Musk reveals he wouldn't do Doge again and doubts that the effort to chainsaw government was successful. Exactly. Exactly. In a way, Elon Musk is the canary in the coal mine. In a way, Elon Musk is the case study. That even when you donate, how much money did he donate in the 2024 election? Like $200 million? And that wasn't directional, by the way. That was just to get Republicans across the finish line. That's all. That's the only direction. It wasn't a special interest. It wasn't a foreign interest. It was literally just, hey, we have to beat the Democrats. And by the way, if we do, I'd like to get in there and do some waste, fraud, and abuse analysis and stop it. So they took his money, and then they said, F you, Elon, get out of town. And he said, well, what about Doge? What about the work on it? We don't care. Leave. We don't want you here. Go. So yeah, I do support Elon Musk. Doesn't mean I agree with everything he's doing or even like everything he's doing or saying. But he's more, I view Elon Musk as more of one of us than anybody else in that world right now. Maybe I just relate to the whole have as many kids as possible thing. I don't know. No, I think he's one of us, and I think he's telling us the truth, folks. They swamped him. They swamped him. Now, I don't know the deal when he says Trump is on the Epstein list. I think we can all imagine what that is. My theory of why he's calling Nick Fuentes a Fed is I think it's a misunderstanding, personally. I think that he probably saw that Fuentes had an interview with the feds and just assumed that meant something. It didn't. A lot of people get interviewed by the feds. A lot of people get interviewed by the FBI. And it's actually even funnier because, I mean, Musk is more of a Fed than Fuentes, probably. I mean, unless you literally think Fuentes is a Fed op, I guess. There are people that believe that. I'm not even sure that's what Musk is saying. But it's like, if anybody's a Fed, it's Musk. I mean, how much money has Musk made off the federal government? So it's like Musk is basically a Fed. But that's a different story. No, I think Musk is the canary in the coal mine. And I think following the lack of the success of Doge and how Musk was run out of town, it tells the whole story. It tells the whole story. Man, I got this news. I just can't even. I'm just too. I've had the lift off, the explosion midair, and now the crash. I don't know if I can bring myself to the news, so I may just open up phone lines, get your response to all of this. Tomorrow's a Friday. We can do a leftover show Friday because a lot of the stuff is important, quite frankly. They can't indict Letitia James. They can't indict James Comey. The jobs numbers are horrible. The housing market is pathetic. So I just can't do it. I just can't. We've already had liftoff. We've already reached maximum capacity. We've already burnt out and exploded mid-flight. And now we're up. And now I got to go to calls. I got to go to calls. So that's just what we're going to do. All right. Phone lines are open. 747 200 5560. 747 200 5560. You know, I was actually thinking about doing a whole caller show because since I only have 2 lines, it's kind of hard for new people to get in. And I'd like to do a show where new callers can get in, but it's really hard when I only have 2 phone lines. It's really only 1 phone line, but there's the line and then waiting. So we'll do some semblance of that, I suppose, for the next 20 minutes or so. We'll do it for the next 25 minutes. So here we are. First caller of the show. What's your name? Where are you from?
This is Phil from Florida, and absolutely loving it today.
Oh, all right, Phil.
Shouldn't have lost the coffee high, though.
Well, I just, I don't like to yell at you guys. I don't really do that as much as I
you
used
need to yell at us more like that.
No, I don't
we were
think
having
so.
a great time.
Well, if you guys like it, maybe we'll do it. But it's not even like that's just genuine. I'm genuinely so fed up with this corruption. I can't take it anymore. And that's the problem is I have another 30 tabs open on my news feed that are all just going to be more of it. And so I just can't. I can't do it. I'm fed up. I can't
Well, I think what happened is you actually looked at your chat today and you could see we were all revved up ourselves.
That was not it. People were theorizing that, but no, I did peek at the chat. I did take a peek, but that wasn't it. It was the they gave $1 billion.
Just had enough. Yeah.
No, they gave $1 billion to foreign they gave $1.5 billion to foreign countries, and then they all stood up there and smirked at us. Fuck them.
Ian Johnson and then Randy Fine, who's from the same district in Palm. Was it Palm? I'm trying to right where Trump's living at. You know, it's like who's working for who.
Yeah.
You know. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to talk to you about something though. It's been a little while, but that guy that you were calling the agent provocateur, you were dead on. I listened to that episode.
Well, I'm going to. I'm not going to go there today, if you don't mind.
Right. I figured. Well, I wouldn't go there at all, and I figured, you know, you listened to him, and you were just like, I just don't want him to start get everybody ramped up in you know in the major cities because I'll be watching for that guy. You know, he was like.
Well, it is happening.
He had,
I think tomorrow or this. Yeah, no, it's Saturday. There's a protest Saturday, and then so it's going down. You'll see that this weekend.
Yeah, I just don't want him to be the usual suspect because the thing is that guy went nonstop. Whenever, you know, it's like doth don't protest much or however the Shakespeare goes.
Doth protest too much.
Yeah, you're a lot better with the words, and I mean, I sound like Lurch. I heard my own voice like you said on the radio, and I sound like Lurch from the Addams Family. You know, I can answer the door for them. That's about it.
You sound like Fetterman.
You do?
No. Fetterman.
I do.
Fetterman sounds like Lurch.
Oh,
Fetterman,
okay. Well,
actually, Tim Burchett.
I mean, I appreciate that. He's had a stroke, so that makes me sound real good. No, I'm just kidding.
Tim Burchett has an annual Carhartt Christmas party. And so him and Fetterman are now doing the combo tag team because, you know, Fetterman walks around in the Carhartt hoodie. Burchett walks around in the Carhartt coat. So they had a Carhartt Christmas party where they handed out crackers and Cheese Whiz.
Well, the thing that's crazy is like, I mean, this is absolutely true. After he actually had that stroke, he's gone more to like the right, like in regards to reality.
Well, I think a lot of that is he needs to be electable in Pennsylvania. I think that's
I mean, it's
more.
probably all a show because he just wants to be the guy, the Reiner, or the guy that stands out, you know, since, what was the other? Joe Manchin's not there anymore, or whoever else.
Yeah, Manchin. Yeah, it's going to be a wild shakeup. A lot of people are retiring. There's going to be a lot of turnover in these midterms. I'm hoping, because I don't want the Democrats in charge, but it doesn't make a difference at this point, so I guess I really don't even care as much. But it looks like the redistricting could save the Republican Party's ass and Trump's ass, quite frankly. But we'll see. Thanks for the call. By the way, we are going to do better on the Super Chats on YouTube as the YouTube channel is growing. Owen Report on YouTube. As we're growing there, we're getting more Super Chats. So I'm going to do better at checking those. I'm in your head says Charlie's neck was made of steel and the Twin Towers were made of neck bones. Okay, I see what you did there. The Chronomad, relatable crash out. And he says, he's talking about my crash out, I guess. I had to join the crash out party, didn't I? I was lacking in the crash out category, so I had to join the party, guys. It was fear of missing out is what it was. The Chronomad says, just got an email from Meta that on December 16th, they will begin using my interactions with AIs to personalize ads and experiences. Well, of course, you know that that's already going on. You know that that's already happening, but I guess now they're just letting you know. That's nice. It's nice they're letting you know. All right, next caller, what's your name, where you're from?
Hey, it's Sam from Montana. I was a fellow water snob. I got my CovePure probably day one when you first came on the air. I guess it was one of your sponsors from the beginning, but I just refilled my tank actually 2 minutes ago.
I did the same thing. Now, where do you have yours located? Because you have to make a strategic decision with where you're going to put it. Because if you put it under your cabinets, then you got to move it around a little bit to fill the tank. But it looks so sleek under the cabinets.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I have to twist it and pull the tank out and fill it.
Yeah.
It's under my cabinet.
Yeah, I do the same routine. I do the twist and then the refill and then back under the cabinet.
My daughter loves it. You know, she can make some tea, you know, real quick. Or
I tell you, man, this is great. You're doing my job today, Sam. Thank you.
I just wanted to call in and share your frustrations and whatever. But I don't think I've heard you comment on the pipe bomber stuff. Have you commented on much of that yet? I've seen Kyle Seraphin talking about it. And
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Is there something exactly or?
No, but I just mean, like, I've talked to my local radio host here, and I'm like, I go, you know, that pipe bomber, that they don't look, that the legs don't match. That his real short, stubby, retarded legs aren't the same as that tall lesbian Capitol Police worker who they initially.
Well, I did cover it. I don't know. Maybe you missed it. I did cover it though. I did cover it the day that it broke, and then the day after a little bit too. And then I had Kara Castronova on this week. I think that was Tuesday, who's talking to the family of the individual, and they don't seem to buy the narrative.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm kind of like, you know, I'm not too convinced of anything right now. So it's one of those deals where I just kind of cover it when there's news breaking, and then maybe add a little commentary, a little opinion. So I don't know if there's something that's happened that you're looking for a response to exactly.
No, but I just find it so. This is wild. I mean, do we need another conspiracy theory, like between the shooter and the bomber, the pipe bomber?
Yeah.
I mean, where's the next one coming?
Yeah. Well, there's a story, and that, like I said, this rumor's been going around for a long time. But there's two stories on Drudge Report today that Dan Bongino is about to be out, and that apparently the cabinet might look a little different in 2026. So like I said, I mean, these rumors have been around for a long time. So it's like, okay, it's either going to happen or it's not. We'll cover it when it does. But those rumors are out right now, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I appreciate your call. Super chat. Pittsburgh bad. How many trillions went out in foreign aid and came back in the pockets of our elected officials? Also, keep your feet on the floor. Well, I had to show you the heel turn, Pittsburgh bad. I had to show you the heel turn. I couldn't just say I was doing it. I had to show it to you. I had to put it on display. So I'm sorry about that. My feet aren't that bad. I think I've got some nice, you know. Oh, great. They're going to put me on Only Feet. I'm going to have an Only Feet account. I'm not even going to make money off of it. All right, Pittsburgh bad. I don't know. Well, we caught Nadler. I think Quaylar was involved in something similar. So yeah, they're all stealing money. They're all stealing our money. They're all selling us out. How about the Bidens? You want to start there? We can't even arrest them. We can't even arrest the Biden crime family. What a joke. What a joke. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we've got you. What's your name? Where you from?
Hey, it's Alex from Michigan. I don't know if you recognize me.
Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and say that, you know, with all this talk of the Jews and Israel, it's actually the Jesuit order and the Black Pope in Rome who runs all the secret societies and the government of Israel. It's called the Knights of the Equestrian Order. They're like the highest military order in the Vatican, and they're running the Crusades in Israel right now. And it all goes back to the Knights Templars and the Knights of Malta, who run all Freemasonry also, based on the Templars. And they want to rebuild Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem with all their gold that they stole, because we don't have any gold or real currency, because they stole all their gold in 1933, so they can rebuild Solomon's Temple in Jerusalem one day. I don't know what you think about that, Owen.
Well, you have been calling into my shows for almost 10 years and saying the exact same thing, and I'm yet to see anything that you talk about metastasize.
What are you talking about? Owen, Anthony Fauci is Jesuit educated. Holy Cross University, Regis High School said Jesuits were his mentors growing up. And now he's a professor at Jesuit Georgetown University, who trains the State Department and all our spies, Georgetown. And that's also where the movie The Exorcist was filmed, at Georgetown. Just an interesting side note.
So who are the Jesuits?
The Jesuits are a military order within the Catholic Church, a military order of priests. And they have set out to conquer all Protestant countries like America and Europe. That's what World War II is about, destroying Protestant Germany, Protestant Great Britain. And so now they're basically doing the same
Can you
playbook they did
name?
in
Can
the
you name
public.
one? Can you give me any examples at all?
Yeah, I just gave you Anthony Fauci. That's the best example.
Anthony Fauci. All right. So that's
Yeah,
one.
poison. The Jesuits love poison.
All right. So that's one. Is there anything else you can use to prove your point? I'm open-minded. You go ahead. You give me. You're on the show, man. You're on the show. Prove your point.
Yeah, so, just look at our congressmen and
Yeah,
US
and who funds them?
representatives.
Who funds them? Who do they take money from?
The Vatican and other special interests.
Vatican.
Of course, there's a big Israel lobby, but the Vatican runs all the.
Oh, you
major
don't
finances.
say.
Yeah,
You don't
the
say.
Rothschilds actually.
So
are
look,
the-
man, you're probably a good dude. Do you remember I did a podcast blitz like 5 years ago. I went on a live stream with you. Do you remember that?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you remember what happened?
I had some audio issues with that one.
You had some audio issues. Yeah. You had some audio issues. You couldn't hear me through the bubbles in the bong that you were smoking.
Yeah, there's those crazy times back then, just learning about the New World Order and how it all works. But
Yeah.
once you realize
So I might be more willing to hear you out. And I don't care if you want to smoke weed, bro. Smoke as much weed as you want. I don't give a damn. But, if you're going to invite me on a show, I like to think that I'm a professional. I like to think I deserve some respect. And if you're going to invite me on your show, and then while I'm talking, you're lighting up a 2-foot bong, I'm sorry if I have a hard time respecting your opinion after that. I don't think you can blame me, but that's where we're at. But I'm glad you got in. I missed you. I missed you from the old days. You still haven't convinced me that the Jesuits are my problem. And by the way, I grew up in De Smet, the Jesuit high school. De Smet was my biggest rival in St. Louis. So don't tell me about the Jesuits. All right. That's funny. Robert Bickerstaff, super chat. Lighting a menorah with Timu Obama. No way Johnson is that out of touch. He is rubbing it in our face. Well, that's how it felt. That's why I lost my cool. I'll admit it. I did. Try not to do it as much these days, but sometimes, you can't keep the beach ball underwater for that long. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Bobby. I'm from Hawaii.
All right, Bobby from Hawaii. I think our first caller from Hawaii on the Owen Report. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't really have too much to say about what's going on. I just wanted to say congratulations on your new show, and I love the hat tip with the golden WIN microphone to the late great Rush Limbaugh.
I like that. The golden WIN microphone. The golden win microphone.
Yeah, he was like my gateway drug, I guess you would call it, to you and Alex back when you were with InfoWars. And he kind of opened my mind a little bit. And I remember driving around in my dad's truck when I was younger, listening to him, as I'm sure you did. And then when I got a little older, I started listening to him more, and then I started listening to InfoWars after he passed. And I really like your show because of the time difference out here. I listened to you most on InfoWars, and then when you left, of course, I was bummed like everyone else. But when you launched your new show and you had that golden microphone, I was like, oh, I love that. And I wish you would play that Rush intro song that he used to play a lot more.
Well, here's the deal. I kind of talked this earlier because I love music, and implementing music into my show was an intention of mine. It was something I wanted to do. The problem is I can't do it because I get struck on all the different platforms when I play music. I don't know why. I don't know if that's only me or whatever, but it was like I can't do it. I literally can't do it, and so that's why we just go with the free use old school video game music. We're going to revamp it a little bit. I plan on doing some revamping with some things for the new year, for 2026. You'll notice some appearance differences. You'll notice maybe some audio differences. We're gonna do some of that in 2026. But yeah, that's why we play the 2-bit video game music, is because it's free use and I don't get struck. So they don't let me play music. But what I'm considering doing next year too, is maybe just once a month, just to scratch the itch, and to the people that want to do it, we'll just have some fun. But once a month doing like a DJ set, not even like a DJ set, like I'm at a booth at a club or something. I mean like a more classical radio type of a DJ set. And I'll just maybe once a month just do it on Rumble. And I'll just play music for like an hour or two, songs that I like that people have never heard, or bands that you've never heard of, and just kind of do like a more like a classical radio type of a DJ, like, moving the disc jockeys around. So I'm considering launching something like that in 2026, since I can't scratch the music itch here, just doing something different only on Rumble. So keep an eye out for that. We may do that.
I will. And have you ever spoken with Bo Snerdley?
No, you know what? I tried to reach out. I don't know if he follows me on X. We had some interaction on X.
He would be a really cool guest, I think, one day. And then lastly, I'm going to let
that'd
you
be
go.
Great.
But,
I agree.
I just wanted to say my son, he's a freshman in high school. He's a big fan of yours, too. He actually tried to call into your show a lot when you were on InfoWars and talk to you about what they teach him in the history class.
What's your son's name?
Tristan.
Tristan. Is he in school?
Yeah, he's a freshman in high school out here, and he.
Oh yeah, you said that. Okay, freshman in high school. Yeah. Is he? Does he play sports?
He's a state champion, 105-pound and 115-pound kickboxer, and he's on the high school varsity wrestling team.
All right, right on, Tristan. Kick some ass, Tristan. Glad to have you as a part of the show.
Cool. All right, thanks, Owen. I hope I talk to you again.
There you go. We'll do another couple calls. We'll keep going here. It's like a calming factor. When I blow a gasket like that, it's like a calming factor to go to the phone lines. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hey, Owen, it's Tay from Florida.
What's up?
In regards to the first caller tonight, yeah, he made a bit of a mistake. Randy Fine is in District 6, which is St. Augustine, Daytona, around those areas. Mar-a-Lago is, I believe, District 21, which is Brian Mast.
Who was the other? I don't know. Trump campaigned for both of them. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian Mast is the one in the IDF soldier uniform.
Yeah.
In our Congress.
Yeah, Brian Mast runs around in an IDF uniform. Randy Fine has an Israel flag higher than the American flag in his office. These are just facts.
Oh, yes. And, in regards to Susie Wiles, a few days back, there's a reason why Ron DeSantis actually fired her.
People keep pointing that out. People keep pointing that out about Ron DeSantis. Look, I think Ron DeSantis is going to make a comeback. I got to be honest. I think DeSantis is going to make a political comeback in 2028. I do. I think he's going to make a political comeback. Now he's going to have the people that are going to, he's going to have the people that are anti him no matter what. And he's in bed with the Israeli lobby too. All of Florida
exactly.
is. All of Florida is. But I got to say, as far as policy is concerned and track record is concerned, DeSantis is going to have a pretty strong case in 2028 if he decides to go. He'll have a pretty strong case.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there you go.
All righty. Thanks for taking my call, Owen.
Pittsburgh bad back in the super chats. Who is Catholic and puts the small hat on? What are our politicians threatened or rewarded with? I feel like it's double fisting little bit or a lot of bit with what a say who. I think we all get the message there. I don't think we need a translation, though. Thank you. Next caller, what's your name? Where you from?
Hello, Owen. Hey, this is Kevin.
What's up, Kevin? Where you at?
Bartonville, Illinois. Bartonville/Peoria. Anyhow, you got to bring back the clown horn. There are way too many clowns right now.
I got a clown. There's a clown horn in here somewhere. I'll dig it out.
Yeah, bring back the clown horn, please.
Actually, maybe I have one over here. I might have one.
This is getting completely, you got the feeling. Everybody does.
Yeah, I can put a clown horn. Actually, I could just put a clown horn on my soundboard here. I never use my soundboard. I need to use my soundboard more often.
Well, that's where to start because there's a lot of clowns. I mean, you could sit there and honk all night long, and fuck it, why not?
That's the problem.
Look at that big ass. Look at that big juicy booty.
That's the problem.
I love it, Owen. That's all I wanted. Thanks for answering my
Isn't that
call.
all we all want? Isn't that all we want out of life? I don't even know if that went over the airwaves because of my audio settings right now. Did the drop go out? I'm looking at the chat. Did the AOC drop make it out, or when I have the phone lines open, does that stuff not make it through? DJ Tyrant is my stage name. I don't do requests. You can make as many requests as you want. I don't do them. I'm not taking your requests. No requests. DJ Tyrant decides. So there you go. All right. That's going to do it for today. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks to the callers. We had it's the season of crash outs. It's the season of crash outs. So we had our crash out. We're entitled to one, right? We're entitled to one in crash out season. So we took it. We were entitled to one. You get a freebie. All right. It's the season of crash outs. So we get a freebie here. We took our freebie. We took our, we're going to take the gimme and we'll move forward amicably. We'll move forward responsibly in maturity. But we got our freebie. We got our free crash out. It's okay. We don't need to overwhelm ourselves. We don't need to turn it into a habit or anything like that. But we did. We got into the atmosphere. We blew up, and then we came down. It's okay. It's all right. But I just don't like yelling at you guys, really. Sometimes I just feel bad about that. But the people say they love it, so I don't know. Give the people what they want. Well, didn't get too much into the news today. That's okay. We'll have a leftover Friday. Plenty of leftovers. So we'll have a leftovers Friday. Some big news, but the news stays. The news doesn't move. So we'll do leftover Friday. By the way, it's like the Republicans have come out now and they get asked. They say, do you know what the administration is doing in Venezuela? And they're like, actually, we have no idea. They shrug their shoulders and they're like, don't know. Well, they just seized oil, so what do you think? What do you think's going on? That might be a little hint. Just a little hint. Meet the new boss. Same as the old boss. That does it. God bless, Godspeed. 21-hour break. We'll do it same time, same channel tomorrow.